Specs Texas, I need to know what's y'all's household, what the Tooth Fairy doing for y'all in y'all's household. I need to know. All right.
Yeah.
Because it varies. People listen right now like, oh no, earmuffs.
Yeah, exactly. I don't want my kids trying to think that they supposed to get $5.
Hey, kids, listen to this. Hey, my Tooth Fairy did not do that, and when our Tooth Fairy has to come to our household, she won't probably be given $5.
My Tooth Fairy when I was growing up was bringing me a toothbrush.
You got some floss.
Hey, you need to floss.
That's what you get. You need to keep it up. When you get some nice, pretty teeth, I will come back
I will
to
be
service
back for that.
you. No, that is fantastic.
Exactly.
Okay. All right. Thanks for the wisdom. I need it. All right. Let's talk about the playoffs, gentlemen. NBA playoff review here. Let's start with the Nuggets, man. I mean, the Nuggets, they really what they've done so far in the playoffs going up against the Suns, because the Suns at one point when KD and with KD and Devin Booker, when they're playing at a elite level, they are probably the most unstoppable duo in the playoffs right now. They scored 86 and 72 points combined in the wins that the Suns had in this series. But the reason they're down 3-2 is because KD and Devin Booker only had 54 points combined.
No doubt.
In Game 5, gentlemen, and that won't get it done. Devin Booker had his most inefficient game of the postseason, lowest field goal percentage, 42% field goal percentage, 28 points, but he was 8 of 19, and Jokic just took over the game in the third quarter. He had 29, 13, and 12, so triple-double machine. And you know what? There, sidebar real quick.
Yeah.
The Nuggets are missing out because now Jokic has, I think, 10 playoff triple-doubles, 10 career playoff triple-doubles, and Magic Johnson has 30. But Jokic is still in his prime, so, hell, man, Jokic could do a lot more damage than
he passed Wilt Chamberlain.
He passed Wilt. There you go. He's actually
for the center position.
Yes. Thank you. He's got more career triple-doubles in the playoffs than any center in NBA history. I do think that they should pay Shaggy, the Denver Nuggets, to make a little jingle for Jokic.
What would it say?
Mr. Triple Double.
Yeah.
Mr. Triple Double.
I like it.
Mr. Boombastic, you
like
could just
it.
easily do. He would do it because stars, they'll do it. Fading stars will do it these days. And every time he does it,
They be like tag team.
And every time he gets it, they can play it in the arena.
Yeah.
And that can be one of their little songs. And everybody knows
that.
it. Everybody knows that song. That's like that song, if you go karaoke,
Mr.
that's one of the songs.
Triple-double.
Mr. Boombastic.
Yeah, I like it.
And boom. And it fits him too.
I like it.
Doesn't it fit? It fit Jokic. I bet Jokic probably likes the song. Somebody should ask him.
I'm telling you,
it would
he
work.
probably will.
Easy money. Shaggy would do it for what? I don't know. Probably 50 to 100 G's.
All he wants is the residuals.
And you know what? There you go.
That's all you got to do. Give me the royalties.
There you go.
Give me the royalties.
That's what you do. I'm just saying.
Because he owns it anyway.
Because he's right now Mr. Triple-Double.
Well, the funny part about it is, and I'm glad that you brought that up, because when I was watching the game last night and watching the way that Devin Booker was playing, he looked like he was playing angry basketball. And the way that he was going about everything, and you got to remember this too, and I know a lot of people don't like to believe in this, but if you've ever been to Colorado, which I know most people have, and you've gone out there and you've kind of hung out and you drink a certain amount, it affects you differently than what it would when you're in Austin, Texas. We'll just use Austin compared to where you would be there. So for me, when you go there and you think you have that same lift or you have that same energy, I think you get drained a little bit quicker than what you're used to. And if you watch some of the shots that they were taking, there was a bunch of shots that they were taking, they were coming up just a little bit short. They were putting up numbers, but they were taking more volume shots, and they weren't getting those true looks that they were having when they were in Phoenix. And the aggressiveness kind of faded, even with Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant, at one point, he was being Mr. Aggressive, and he was trying to get to the basket, but he wasn't making those shots. He was missing free throws, which is very rare for KD.
Agreed.
There were certain things that you're looking at them and saying, man, y'all could try to steal it if you're in Denver, but the game that's going to be the most important one is when they go back to Phoenix. If they can't win in Phoenix, obviously the series is over, but that'll tell you every single thing that you need to know, because when you go there and if you're not prepared and you don't play at a good pace, you get worn down quicker
That's a
than
great
what
point.
you were going to do somewhere else.
Totally agree. I played ball up there.
Yeah,
It's
it's like
a different beast.
Ryan Clark couldn't travel one
Yeah.
time because of his sickness. He had a sickle cell or something like that, where he couldn't. They kept telling him, "No, man, you can't go play in Denver
Yeah.
because
Something about the
your
altitude.
respiratory is
Yeah.
going to be all messed
Yeah.
up."
No, that's a good point. It looks like that is an advantage to that point. I believe all the Nuggets wins in the playoffs are at home,
Yeah,
right?
yep, and just the same thing with
If I'm not mistaken.
with Denver.
I could
Denver
be-
has won every game at home.
That's what I'm saying. Like, yeah, that's what I'm saying about the Nuggets.
Nuggets
right?
up
Yeah.
there. The first game they
Right,
won
the
it.
Nuggets-
Nuggets were at home.
Nuggets
Second
are
game
there
they
win-
won. Suns were on the road.
Have they won a
Suns
road
were
game?
No, nobody had.
So
It's-
that-
home field
I'm talking
advantage.
about even in the playoffs, they're going all the way
Oh,
back.
good point. I'm not sure.
I
want to
say that's been the case in the playoffs, even in the first round for them too.
I mean, they won the first series 4-1, so they had to have won.
Oh
the road
yeah,
game.
so they had to win one on the road.
Okay, so they won one on the road there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Man, that's it's just unbelievable what they. Well, you're right. That's a clear advantage.
Yeah.
But what Jokic has done is just it's mind blowing how consistently great he is. And like I said, a 17-point third quarter really kind of blew the doors off the game. That's when he decided to put his foot on the throat of the Suns. And, Devin Booker, like I said, he really is, I think, doing as much as he can. I'm not saying he's worn out now, but there's no doubt, like you said, Harch, he's working real hard for everything.
Yeah.
And that made him a lot less efficient from the
Right.
field. And I think ultimately, I don't know when it's going to happen, but I think that Denver will close the door on this thing. I don't
think so too.
I think they'll close the door on it in 6, but if they let it get to 7, anything could happen. But Denver's just a better team
Yeah.
than the Suns.
It
Even
sure
without their
looks
star
that
power,
way.
they're
It
just a
sure
better-
looks that
They're
way.
just a better team.
Well, I mean, the Nuggets can go out there and play where Jokic has a great game, Jamal Murray has a good game, and the rest of the team kind of contributes. But the Phoenix Suns need so much out of Booker and Durant because this bench just is super inconsistent, and every once in a while get a little bit of help. But they need so much from those star players. It's just hard to go, we expect you to have 40-point games every single night. Like, we need you to have 40-point games to compete. That's a lot to ask for two guys on a team.
Yeah. I like it.
It is the night in, night out. I mean, it's fun to watch, but it's not a very effective way to win.
No, it's not.
So they need another piece. It looked like, and maybe it's because CP3 went down and DeAndre Ayton. Man, it's a big part
I
of
mean,
it too.
DeAndre
Well, I think-
Ayton, I'm confused about who he is, man.
There is, I will say, I think you're onto something with the Denver and the elevation of with CP3. I think CP3 fits in better in that because it's a little bit
It's a slower
slower.
pace,
But
yeah.
when Cameron Payne came in Game 5, game 4, there was basically they could run the ball a lot more, and it had impact on Denver because they just like Jokic doesn't want to run the floor. Jamal Murray doesn't necessarily want to run the floor. So it made it to where they get some more open shots because the defense wasn't getting back and getting set, which led to Booker or Durant being able to get some more shots or Shamet or whoever was get open shots. And I don't think they just ran very well in Game 5. I just don't think they ran as well as they did. And so that's partly Denver making a change, and
You're
it's
right.
also partly that maybe they're getting winded.
No, that's a good point. This stat here, Denver had a playoff high 31 points on fast breaks in that game. To Phoenix's 25. By the way, that's the third time all season, all year long, that Denver had 30-plus fast break points. So they don't get out and run like that very often.
Yeah.
To your point, Patrick, they made an adjustment, and they got out, and they got a ton of fast break points in this game, too.
Yeah, and when you watch this team, and you brought it up too, Jamal Murray was a man possessed. We talk about Jokic, but Jamal Murray came out as a man possessed as well, and he was being so aggressive that at one point he got teed up because him and Shamet were going at each other so hard that you didn't know which way it was going to go. But when you come out there and you bring that intensity and you're tired of being bullied, so to speak, because what exactly happened in Phoenix was they were attack, and nobody paid the price. Nobody paid the price. Somebody's got to get touched every once in a while. And that's what Jamal Murray was looking at. He was like, no, this ain't happening again.
I'm going to send a message.
I'm going to send a message, and I'm going to let everybody know that I am that guy. Even at one point, I don't know if y'all realize how big Jamal Murray's hands are. He grabbed the ball and acted like he was about to throw it and let it go and grabbed it back from the guy like he was about to hit him with the ball.
It's a dangerous game.
Yeah, and he grabbed it. He was on that. He trusted himself.
I was going to say, that's a
he
dangerous
believed
game,
in himself.
man.
He believed in
a little
himself.
Sweaty, a little anything.
Yeah,
Man.
I was like, man, this dude is about that life. So just pay attention to how him and Shamet have been going at each other this entire time. Because don't forget, Shamet was the reason why they won the other game. Why Phoenix won? Because he was knocking down shots in the corner. He was hitting all the open threes. They were looking for him, and he was talking that trash too. And Jamal Murray, I took that personal.
Oh, yeah, he did.
I took that personal.
That's wild. I missed that moment there.
Oh, man.
That could have got, I mean, but these playoffs have been crazy.
Yeah,
I mean,
they have been.
In this series alone, we've had an owner get elbowed.
Right.
I mean, that's how entertaining the NBA playoffs have been. I mean, even with, aside from some of the games have been blowouts and out of hand and lopsided, but you still get the great drama.
Yes.
So you had an owner get elbowed, and we just kind of kept it moving.
And yeah,
Right?
he got the fine. He got fined $25,000.
But it wasn't a huge story.
The owner wrote the story and said, "I don't think he should be suspended. I hope that he doesn't get suspended."
Because to me, it's kind of the NBA culture, though. Like you can't even take a lot of that stuff too
flopped
seriously.
on the sideline.
It was good.
Don't
He played
hold
for
the ball.
Izzo.
Hey, that's part of the NBA culture, though,
You should
right?
be able to.
You
should be
you
thrown
gotta
out of the
sell it.
game.
You gotta sell it.
You were doing it. If you were a fan, you've been thrown out of that game.
But then Jokic did it to KD.
Yep.
I know.
With
And
the
then he
flop.
flopped. That was a flop too.
That was a
Come on,
follow.
man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it.
Jokic is a big man.
Yeah.
You ain't doing that.
Especially you just can't be pushing him out the
Man,
way
that's,
too.
That's an art form now in the NBA.
Wait till your hands go up like that.
Yeah.
Like that's not a.
Well, Joker too. He went over yesterday before the game, pregame. The owner was sitting on the sideline. He walked
Yeah.
over and gave him the ball.
Yeah.
It was like, "Hey man, what's up?" They hugged it out.
Yeah.
So it was
That's,
cool,
that's
man.
what I'm saying. That's why I love. I'm saying the NBA is. I think that's kind of the culture. There's a very WWE culture to the
Yes.
NBA as well.
Yes.
Where like we can do all that stuff for the entertainment value, and of course we're hyped up during the game, and then after that, no, it's all good, man. We just keep it moving. Like
Keep it
don't take
moving.
that stuff too seriously.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think like the Dylan Brooks thing, like
Yes.
Dylan Brooks took it too seriously.
He
should have kept it moving and made fun of himself, and then
He
didn't make it a big
became
deal.
his character.
He did.
He
Yeah.
became his
Yes.
character.
I also think that I bet Jokic's agent was like, "Hey man, let's not make the billionaires mad. Yeah, go over and say, hey, that guy's got a lot of money and he may want to give it to you someday."
Very true. Very true. It's not a lot of those guys. So that's a great point. True that. Okay, the other matchup, gentlemen, the 76ers with a big win, 115-103 over the Celtics.
Yep.
They now have a 3-2 series lead as well. And, man, the 76ers, Joel Embiid, he had 21 points in the first half. The 76ers starter scored 52 of their 58 first half points. And, guys, man, I miss the old James Harden, and you get vintage James Harden in this series. We've seen him like 2 or 3 times. Old school vintage James Harden. He had 17 points and 10 assists. And like I said, it's like old Kanye, man. I miss old Kanye, and I miss old James Harden.
You missed the college dropout.
I miss old Kanye. I know we don't talk about him anymore. Nobody likes new Kanye. Old Kanye was cool.
He was dope.
Yeah, exactly. So the 76ers with a big win. Tyrese Maxey too had a great game. 11 points in the first quarter, 30 points in the game total. And Joel Embiid ended up with 33 points, 21 of those in the first half. They just really took over the game. And James Harden, right now, James Harden's playing his best basketball of the season right now.
I would agree with you.
It's sporadic. Now it's not consistent. It's not every game, but when he's hitting his ceiling higher, more than he's hit his ceiling all season long in these playoffs. We've seen it 3 times in this series.
Yeah. Well, the thing that I loved about what James Harden has been able to do is he's understood that my opportunities to win a championship rest with Joel Embiid, and I don't have to be that guy. We have other guys that are here that are playing at a very high level where I don't have to be the guy to take that many shots every single game. That's the part that I'm liking, what I'm seeing from him. He's distributing. Think about the efficiency that he had yesterday. Mm-hmm. He was 4 of 8 from the field. He shot 50%. Think about that. He normally would have 35 shots.
He's a volume guy.
Right. He normally would get out there. And the best part of it, going back to your point about the old James Harden, he was 8 of 10 from the free throw line. He got to the free throw line.
Great point.
That's the beautiful part of James Harden's game, because everybody kept saying it, hey, he doesn't do this or he can't do this. Oh, he draws these weak fouls because of the way he goes to the lane. But that's how he was getting the majority of his points. But not only is he getting to the free throw line, he's knocking them down. He's that guy. And then you bring along a guy like Tyrese Maxey, who athletically, he's one of the best, man. I mean, you watch him play and how fast he likes to play. When he gets that going, it's a different pace of the game. And James lets him go. Where before, when he was, quote unquote, the man, it was everything went through James Harden. Now it's going through him in a different way because he does have the MVP on his team. By the way, he bought him a Rolex, got his first Rolex, and James Harden bought it for him, put MVP on it. I thought that was pretty dope.
That is cool.
And then you got an attitude adjuster in P.J. Tucker on that team. So you got a great balance, and I believe that James Harden is looking at this and saying, this might be my best chance. And the fact that you're beating the team that had the best record in the league, in the Celtics. Well, I think there was them and Milwaukee, right?
Milwaukee, yeah.
Yeah. And you're sitting there and you're looking at this team, and we go back to it. You got the best coach now from Boston in Houston. That is the biggest difference in this team, and he would have had these guys locked in. There's a big difference in the coaching strategy. Does Doc Rivers get some help? Does Doc Rivers get a chance now?
No, I mean, yeah, Boston has to play better defense, and I mean, you know what James Harden's going to do. That's effective James Harden is the James Harden I cannot stand to watch because it is the most boring, worst basketball you will ever watch in your life is when James Harden makes 4 shots and scores 20-plus points.
Yes.
That is the worst James Harden you will ever watch in your life because it's just basically him being like, oh, no, I know how to do it. Like, I'm really good at faking and then turning and running into a guy.
That's
but
right.
if you're Boston, you have the scouting report. It's about 10 years old now. So you should look it over and stop jumping on everything, stop going after him like that. And so Boston, you have to play better defense. This team shot 50%. The Philadelphia shot 50%. You can't allow teams to shoot 50% in the playoffs. That's lack of effort.
Yeah.
If you're allowing a team to shoot that good in the playoffs and get to the free throw line, they're just getting what they want out there. It's very hard to win when you let a team do that.
And we all know the Doc Rivers stat about chances to close out an opponent, series clinching wins.
Right.
Doc Rivers' team 6-14 in the last 20 chances to close out an opponent in a playoff series.
Hey, he rights the ship tonight.
Gets it done
tomorrow. He gets it done. He gets it done.
No, I
don't think Boston is engaged enough to be able to finish to fight back. You know, at this point, you're sitting there as like, oh, you know, in our mind, we're competitive enough that we're gonna say we're gonna be the ones to break this streak. We're gonna come from 3. We're gonna come back and win 3 in a row. I don't think they have that mentality because what have we heard all year about this team? We don't know who's the guy, who's their closer. James Tatum thinks that he's their guy. Brown thinks that he's their guy. Marcus Smart believes that he's their guy. And nobody understands what their roles are because they've had success. We've seen it.
Oh, yeah.
But at these times, I've always talked about this. Don't let your ego get in the way of your success at this point. It doesn't matter who gets the MVP. It doesn't matter who's the leading scorer every single game. The best part about it is to have variance of
like
leading
the Lakers
scorers.
got right now.
Everybody's
random
getting
guys
some.
coming up. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
But right
totally
now,
agree.
they're not playing as a team like that.
Celtics were down 3-2 to the Bucks a year ago, right? End up coming back within 6 and 7, winning game 6 and 7. So
not 3-1.
3-2, I know.
They got to get to game 2 though.
Yeah,
they got to get that. They got to get that second victory.
Yeah,
I just don't think that they have it, especially when Jason Tatum is not being aggressive. Jason Tatum, that's a problem. It looked like he was passive. He didn't look like he wanted to be out there. And then all of a sudden it gets late in the game and then he tries to turn it on. And it's like, bro, as the leader of this team, you need to set the tone ASAP.
It's crazy that they seem so uninspired in the playoffs.
It's amazing.
And so
we got booed before. We'll be all right. They got booed yesterday and we got booed before. We'll be all right. I'm like, what are you saying?
No, and we've seen collapses by this team in the playoffs, like games where it's almost stupefying how they lose games. That even in that Atlanta Hawks series, we saw that too, and in their last series. So it's weird with this team. They, like I said, maybe it's a leadership thing, but the coaching is gonna ultimately, I believe, take the blame for.
Yeah, no
this.
doubt.
No
doubt.
And
So let me ask you this. Let me ask both of you guys this. As you look at this team as it's presently constructed, who leaves this team?
Who leads them?
Leaves after this season, because they're not staying the same.
head coach.
Marcus Smart. It'll be Marcus Smart.
You think it's Marcus Smart?
Yeah.
I think it'll be Jaylen Brown.
I think that Jaylen Brown they want to keep, though, and I don't think they want to keep Marcus Smart because they understand they have Malcolm Brogdon, they understand they have Derek White, and those guys are younger. Derek White just made all second-team defense.
Yeah.
And that's basically, all right, if we have to get rid of somebody that it's a guy we can replace, we think you're kind of on the downside.
Yeah. Okay. See, look, they're talking about it right now on the Four Letter Network. The impact
Contract
of,
options.
yeah.
I mean, no, something's got to change because that's unacceptable. It's almost like the Bucks too.
Yep,
The Bucks made
exactly.
a drastic change because they figured, no, this is unacceptable for us to lose.
And they
in the
just
first
got
round.
that coach, though.
And they just got that coach, and Boston just got that coach too. And I'm telling
That's what I'm saying. Boston just got that coach.
the NBA don't give a damn about that.
Nope. You were an assistant with us before, too. You've been hired here long enough.
Yeah, you've been here for a while.
Patrick, no, NBA don't care about that.
Yeah.
NBA don't care about your Coach of the
Now,
Year award. They don't care
problem
about
is-
your championship you won 2 years ago.
The problem
Yeah, that's
is
what
very
have you
true.
done for me lately?
the problem is who is available and
Yeah.
are you able to get someone who's better than what you already have?
That's-
That's where it becomes a problem.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of what happened with Ime is they were too late on it. That they got a guy. They didn't. There wasn't like, oh, you can go get another big name coach.
Yeah.
That's a great point, too. All right, we'll get to NBA preview of the Lakers-Warriors matchup coming up in the top of the 5 o'clock. All right, let's switch gears, gentlemen. Let's get to this Bob Huggins story. There is an update on what the penalty will be for Bob Huggins, and a lot of people upset about this.
Very
We'll
much
talk
so.
about it on the other side right here on Ball Don't Lie, 104.9 The Horn. Hey, what's up, folks? Lifetime Longhorn Rod Babers here. Let me tell you about my favorite tequila, my go-to tequila. It's Hot Cat Tequila. You already know what the cat stands for: cinnamon, agave, and tequila. And the recipe, just as simple, just as delicious. It's just cinnamon, agave, nectar, and tequila. That's why it's so light. That's why it's so smooth. It's a tequila lover's dream. And if you're not a fan of tequila, well, Hot Cat Tequila will make you a fan of tequila. As a matter of fact, you don't even have to like tequila to end up being a fan of Hot Cat Tequila. That's how good it is. It will turn any event into a party, and every party feels like a celebration. So celebrate and turn up with Hot Cat Tequila. And once you try Hot Cat, you'll never ever go back to that old cinnamon whiskey or that old cheap tequila you ordered rounds of when you were just trying to get the party started. No, you can turn up your party with Hot Cat Tequila. As a matter of fact, that's what I did this weekend. Got a chance to enjoy the party with Hot Cat Tequila. It's the perfect way to pregame for all their big games, concerts, festivals, or any night on the town with family and friends. It's the best way to enjoy this for a quick round of shots or to sip on the rocks and to make sure it's served cold because it is absolutely delicious. Visit cattequila.com. That's cattequila.com to find a store near you that sells Hot Cat Tequila or to find a bar near you that serves Hot Cat Tequila. Toast and turn up with Hot Cat Tequila. Welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. It is a midweek movie music edition of Ball Don't Lie. That's when Patrick takes jams from a soundtrack, plays those songs for us, and based on the selections that are played, Harge and I are supposed to gather clues and hints that lead us to the featured film of midweek movie music. All right, Harge. I like the song. You got some?
I have nothing yet. I don't know. I don't know what the. Oh wait, I need to close this off, right?
Harge is good at this kind of stuff.
Yeah, I gotta look
Harge
at
pays attention to the kind of pop culture, anniversaries and stuff that are happening. So Harge does a good job.
What I need to know is the name of this song. I know the song, but I don't know the name.
Song
Something
is
in the
called
Sky?
"Spirit in the Sky"
Yeah, something. I knew it was
by
something in the
Norman
sky.
Greenbaum.
Okay, I've heard this
One
song
Hit
before.
Wonder?
Well, with the name like Norman Greenbaum,
Is that it?
nah, it doesn't roll off the tongue.
I was wondering, is that his actual? Did he have like a persona, like an alter ego, or some other name, or is that his
No.
actual
As far as I know, that's
Christian name on his birth certificate?
as
That's what
far
it
as I
sounds
know.
like.
Yeah.
As far as I know.
Yeah, probably should have came up with another name. He's very talented, though. I like this. This song is, he made an iconic song that
Yeah.
transcended forever. Everybody pretty much knows
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
song. All right, there you go. All right, let's get into this discussion, gentlemen. We'll get back to the Specs text line because I want to get to some of those takes about the tooth fairy in your household.
Oh yeah, there's some great ones. That
I know
are
there's
on
some
there,
really
too.
good ones,
There
so
are
I
some
want
good
to
ones.
get to them, but we just silenced it for a while just so we can get to midweek movie music. Okay, so gentlemen, by now you've heard the sound of the head coach for West Virginia men's basketball, Bob Huggins. He was on a radio show and did a radio interview and used what is considered a slur for the gay community, LGBT community, and he used it twice, by the way, too, because I heard it too, and we didn't play it because by now I figure you've heard it already, and it was over the weekend, and we weren't on there on Monday, so by now I figured, what's the point in playing it at this point when I think everybody's already heard it? So we're not going to replay it for you, but it was an anti-gay slur that he used in a radio interview, and as a result, he had the consequences for him. As a result, West Virginia has made the decision to suspend him and amend his contract status. Sources say West Virginia and Bob Huggins are finalizing details for him to return to the sideline next season in the wake of him using the anti-gay slur in a radio interview. Pete Thamel wrote that he's expected to receive a suspension and a $1 million salary reduction and sensitivity training. Thamel later revealed all parties agreed to the stipulations. That includes a 3-game suspension in addition to the fine and details of his sensitivity training. All right, gentlemen. 3 games. We believe that to be enough for publicly dropping an anti-gay slur twice. He was referring to Xavier fans because of an incident where it is alleged that they threw dildos on to the court or had around the court or something like that. That was the premise of the story. Either way.
So
there you go.
For me, and I'm not one of these get everybody fired situation type of people, but you say it once, you said it twice, and you know that you're on live radio. You wasn't on the phone with one of your homies, wasn't nobody trying to trap you with a conversation. You were speaking to a live audience because you knew that they were calling you, and for you to go to that point is something that I'm shocked. I am truly shocked that he's still employed. And the fact that they're talking about, we're just going to reduce his salary by $1 million.
That is significant.
It is very significant.
I think the financial penalty to me, it's appropriate. What they should have done though is suspend them for a way longer period of time.
That 3 games.
Three
is
games is
nothing, especially at the
that's a
beginning
joke.
of the season.
But at the
where
$1
we look
million
at like Texas,
to him,
Well, I don't know
is
what he's
probably
making. What is he-
nothing.
what is he making?
Huggy Bear's been in the $1 million club for a real long time.
All right. Well,
So with his endorsements and everything else. So my other part is I don't know what his endorsements are at this point. Are they still on board with him? Does he lose that too? So yes, financially, that's a gut punch.
that's why the suspension should have been longer because you'll lose that stuff
Yes.
as a result of being
Yes.
suspended longer.
Yes.
You'll have advertisers and endorsements go, man, we're pulling out because we have you endorse it. You're not even on the sideline, that kind of stuff.
Right. Right.
So
Certain gear. Yeah.
Patrick, what are your thoughts about the 3 games?
It's
what should it
silliness
have been?
because normally 3 games, especially at the beginning of the season, are against nobodies. He will be at every single practice. He will be at every single event. He will
still be
literally
coaching.
be in the locker room while they do those games, probably sitting on a stool watching them, and then talk to them after the game. That is normally how these suspensions work. They are completely for show. They mean nothing, and that's why it's annoying. Is because you're doing something that's for show. If you're gonna do something, do something. If you're not, don't. Stand on your morals and say, we don't think that's a bad. We think you should be able to say whatever you want. Go do that, West Virginia. If you want to be that team, then do that. But if you don't sit on the side and go, we're going to suspend him for 3 games. Go, are you? Is he going to be at practice? All right, he should not be at practice till week 4 or till week 2, and he doesn't get to do any offseason workouts. Oh, you're not going to do that, are you? No, then you're not doing anything.
Bob Huggins' salary is $4.2 million, so he's going to make $3.2 million.
It's like a quarter of his salary. I mean, I'm not going to disrespect because I think $1 million is still a lot of money. Take $1 million from somebody, I think it's a lot of money. I think you should have also suspended him for a longer period of time, and I think that would have been more of a statement. But yeah, I mean, they definitely.
And his contract now is year to year. Well, Bob Huggins is old. Isn't he a Hall of Famer too?
His contract's year to year, like in college sports.
Not
everyone's
scholarship is year to year. So let me ask you this: isn't he a Hall of Famer? If I'm not mistaken, isn't he already in the Hall of Fame?
I don't know off the top of my head.
I think I'm gonna check right now.
I could believe it though.
Yeah.
And listen, I said $1 million to me. For me, that's appropriate. But I would have suspended him for a longer period of time. I probably would have went somewhere. Man, I probably would have went close to half the season. I'd have went pretty. I'd have made a statement with the suspension.
Yeah, he's class of 22.
I mean, and honestly,
he just went into the Hall of Fame.
Did he? So if you're not gonna fire him, I would have kind of laid the hammer down on the suspension. And since you're year to year. I mean, I guess you could have went for a whole season if you wanted to, but you made him year to year. I think that was their point to try to say, we're going to make him year to year. Essentially, he's on probation for us.
Yeah, I mean, in all reality, when it comes down to a sports setting, you can't suspend him for half a year because if you suspend him for half a year, half your team's going to transfer out because they're only thinking year to year now. In college sports, people don't think multiple years playing for one team. You're basically forfeiting a season because you can't hire another coach for half a season. So I think if you suspend him for half a season, you have to fire him. There is no. That's what I'm saying is you have to fire him and hire a new coach and then work recruits that way. You're killing your program if you don't. But you can. I also don't think.
Your program's going to hurt now anyway in recruiting because you already got some guys who I'm sure decommitting, and it's going to be hard to walk into households now. Maybe in West Virginia you can recruit a lot, but it's going to be hard to come down here in some households after the negative recruiting against you, and it's like, oh, you gonna really let your son go play for that dude?
Right.
Yeah. Did you hear
and
what
the
language he used, and you hear the university and how they treat a coach that used that language? The example that they said,
I'll tell you,
gonna hurt a little bit.
No,
so
and I think
it's gonna hurt as much as that. But I'm just saying.
But I also think there's plenty of parents who will say that's awesome. We support 100% what Bob Huggins say. We'd like our kid to go here. Like I love to think that this world is a PC place that doesn't have parents that really hate other people.
Yeah.
But there's plenty that do, and they'd be fine. And they go, you know what? We prefer if you said it more. So that's a reality. There's people that it will not bother one bit.
Good point.
And they can get somebody. That's not great. That's just the way it is. It would hurt with some people, but I don't think those people are going to West Virginia anyway. Usually, it's. For me, the one part I don't get is that West Virginia has not been one of the most competitive teams in the Big 12 in a while. That's why the most surprising part of this for me is I went, oh yeah, well, fire him because I know he's a legendary coach, but you fire him for a couple of years and let him go do whatever, and then you bring him back in a few years down the road in another role. But you're probably getting close to having to move on anyway because his coaching style isn't how most kids want to get coached now. So if you go, his recruiting is down, his wins are down every season. They're not making the tournament.
Well, they obviously don't think so.
But that's what I'm saying is that's what's that's honestly in today's America the most surprising part of this entire scenario was it was not an easy out for West Virginia to say we can fire him with due cause, pay none of his contract, and move on to try and compete in a Big 12 that is one of the best conferences in basketball. That's what was most surprising to me.
And I don't know if West Virginia believes they can do better than Bob Huggins, though. I think that may be it may be an indictment.
You're charging
Hall of Famer.
The self-esteem of the entire program and athletic department.
It is. It's
he's just the best they can do.
For $4 million, you could do better. But
the other guy's not going to get $4 million. Because
exactly. I'm
Bob
just saying,
Huggins,
though,
the
if
Hall
you-
of Famer, gets
if
$4
you-
million.
if
The other
you-
guy coming in is going to get
Yeah.
1.5 or whatever it is.
If you want to throw a bunch of money at it, people will want to coach in the Big 12. It's a good conference. But yeah, I get that and look, he has a lot of relationships there, and he's beloved there. So I get why they didn't. It just surprised me because that is the climate of today's sports is, hey, if you're not winning, if you're not making the tournament every year, you normally have a 2-year window to not be competing for a conference championship and not competing in the tournament, and then you're gone.
Yeah. It wasn't the only issue with a slur over the weekend. You did have the A's broadcaster as well, who was suspended indefinitely, pending a investigation, I believe, because he dropped the N-bomb.
He did.
While describing what their activities that they had done that day, he and his broadcast partner.
Yeah, they spent some time at the Negro League Museum.
Yeah.
And that is not the term that came out of his mouth.
Yeah.
And therefore, he has been suspended indefinitely during that time. And one of the things that you and I and Patrick were talking about was the reaction of his co-host, his analyst that was sitting next to him, Dallas Braden. And Dallas has been in the big leagues. He's a former big league pitcher. Threw a no-hitter on Mother's Day, and his grandmother was there. Actually, he's part of Canadips, a product that I actually use, where smokeless tobacco that is used through the hemp plant that is CBD.
CBD.
Yeah, I use it. It's a good product. But with that being said, he was asked a lot of questions about how did you not react to that? How have you been so silent about it? And he said this, quote, "At the time of the incident, I was not aware that anything in the broadcast was amiss. The nuances of live television," and this is something that you and I have talked about, mean that sometimes we have, as broadcasters, we miss a lot of things because of the fact we got people talking in our ears at the time, letting us know what's about to happen. So you're not paying attention to the person that is actually talking. I've done live football games. You've done them too. I've done live basketball games. I've done live baseball games. I did one last night with Craig Way. And during that time, we go over what's about to be said at the very beginning, and then everything else just goes as the game goes. So at the beginning, you're doing an opening monologue. You sit there and you're talking about certain things. And this is where I'm going to go. This is what we're going to talk about. And this is where it happens. Well, sometimes you're already thinking about what you're going to say. So you're not listening to everything that is being said.
That's
so
fair.
you can miss that in the conversation.
You can miss it.
You can miss it. Yeah, you can miss that because you're thinking you hear the N at the beginning. You didn't hear the letter. Yeah,
he just said Negro. He
yeah,
definitely
like
did.
I'm not even thinking about that other
Why
word.
would he say anything other than
Exactly,
Negro?
because that's not where we went.
We went to the Negro League Museum.
Exactly. Enjoyed
Yes.
some barbecue during the day. There were so many things
He
that
wasn't
might
gonna
have
drop
happened.
The N-word with the hard ER.
With the hard ER at the end of it.
Yes,
And now he's been suspended indefinitely.
Glenn
And-
Cooper?
yeah.
Is it Cooper?
Yes.
Okay.
So it's just one of those things that in this day and age,
Well-
you are watching so many things
Yeah.
that that cannot be one of the words that you get wrong.
Well, when you're a broadcaster, and
Exactly.
I don't know if he uses the word in his real life. Nobody does.
Nobody knows. Nobody knows.
But I will say, from my experience doing radio and for 15 years now, doing broadcasting in some form or fashion, I had to stop using certain language in my everyday
Absolutely.
life just so my comfort level on air would not affect my filter.
Correct.
Which I have, everybody has kind of a filter, a mental filter, so that you don't say stupid
That's
stuff.
why people, whenever you say
And-
certain words, I'm like, how did you twist that like
well,
that? so
because
fast?
I've stopped saying a lot of stuff in my own everyday
You
life
and I
just
both.
so I won't have that. I won't slip on the radio, and I haven't slipped up. I think I had one slip up maybe when I first started. That's about it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm not saying you use it in everyday life, but man, how often do you slip up and use a word that you've never ever used in your life?
Exactly.
Like how often would you on air would you slip up and use it? I had to stop. I stopped using words in everyday life because I didn't want them to
To
bleed
filter in-
over
yeah, to filter into the
my
conversation.
on-air persona. So I
Exactly.
stopped doing that because I was like, nah, they're too similar. I'm Rod B all the time, so I
Right.
can't do that.
Right.
It's hard for me to believe that you use the words you never ever use, but you mistakenly used it when you were on air.
I think that's a great description.
That's hard. That's hard to believe.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's unbelievable, but it's hard to believe.
Well, I like the way
say-
that you presented that too, because if there are certain words that you don't use, you can't use them,
Yeah.
right? It's just not who you are. Like you said, you're Rod B. I'm Mike all the time.
Yeah.
I'm on set. I'm on 10 all the time. So there are certain ways that I've got to carry myself and talk that I'm always that person. But when you go out there and you're doing a monologue and you're the lead dog in that situation,
Yeah.
and you're the one that's having that conversation, it creates a whole nother conversation amongst the people that you're around. Because not only that, these are people that you're around. You have been the voice of this team for, I believe they said, over 20 years.
Yes. Wow.
So for you to go
Yeah.
up like that, and you can't tell me that you've, within your 20 years, that you've never been to the museum before? You know what I'm saying?
No,
Like
it's crazy.
you travel
Yeah.
there quite
It's
often.
the same thing with Bob Huggins. So it's like it's
Right.
hard for people to believe that you don't use that word
Exactly.
because you just when you got comfortable, you just threw it out there
Because you were talking to
very
some buddies.
casually. And I'm not saying I don't believe in redemption or being forgiven.
Right.
That should be a part of. That's why I don't like cancel
Absolutely.
culture because everybody deserves a second chance.
Yeah,
and
I'm not a
redemption.
part of that either.
But just talking about making better decisions about being responsible about language, which is our business. I know a little something about that.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we come back. We'll wait past the break here, but that was worth it. We'll come back right here on Ball Line 104.9. Hey, what's up, folks? Lifetime Longhorn Rod Babers here. Let me tell you about my friend. He should be your friend, too, Dr. Greg Eckert, because Dr. Greg Eckert and his fantastic team can help you out with anything that has to do with your dental health or hygiene, whether it be general dentistry, teeth whitening, dentures, porcelain crowns, veneers, dental implants, full mouth reconstruction, even root canal therapy, whatever it takes to ensure you're getting the best quality dental care available. That's what Dr. Greg Eckert and his team are all about. First time I met Dr. Greg Eckert and went to his office, I actually had an experience that was really life-changing for me. I saw a woman, she was crying at the time. I thought to myself, see, this is why I don't come to dentist's office, because it's all about heartbreak, it's all about sadness. Turns out I was wrong. She was crying tears of joy because Dr. Greg Eckert and his team, his all-star team, had given her the smile she had always wanted. She looked in the mirror and was brought to tears of joy. By the time she got done telling us about her story, we were all kind of brought to tears of joy. But he can do the same thing for you. He knows that a quality of your smile can truly affect the quality of your life. He can give you a brand new smile in just one day. No time spent without teeth. You'll get temporary fixtures until they complete your permanent smile, and you'll smile again with confidence and eat freely without pain or discomfort. We're talking about a lifelike permanent solution. So if you've been told your teeth need to be replaced, call Dr. Greg Eckert today and learn about this revolutionary alternative to dentures. It's a brand new smile in just one day. 512-345-3166 or visit dreckert.com, DRUECKERT.com. All right, welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. Midweek movie music edition of Ball Don't Lie on 104.9 The Horn. That's when Patrick takes songs from a soundtrack, plays those songs for us, and based on the selections that are played, Harge Not supposed to gather clues and hints that lead us to the featured film of the day. We're also very late because we got carried away talking about slurs, unfortunately. That's basically what we were talking about and got carried away talking about slurs. So we apologize about that. So this will be a quick segment. Go to Flex, FLXATX.com, FLXATX, and all your social media platforms. Hard, you got a guess about midweek movie music?
Yes.
You got one? You got a guess?
No.
Anchorman.
No.
Damn it. That was a decent guess, though, with the music.
Yeah, decent, yeah.
It was a decent guess. Okay. All right, we'll come right back. This is Ball Don't Lie, 104.9 The Horn. Love this song. Hey, what's up, folks? Lifetime Longhorn Rod Babers here. Austin is a beautiful city, thanks in no small part to our good friends over at Ironworkers Local 482. They've been helping shape this great city since 1935, and you see the labors of their love all over this great city in iconic landmarks like DKR Stadium and the Pennybacker Bridge. And as the city continues to grow and thrive, so do our friends over at Ironworkers Local Union 482. They don't go to the office, they build it. So if you're looking for an exciting new career and you're frustrated with your work choices or your career path and you want something new, something fresh, something that will challenge you can become a member of Ironworkers Local 482 and accept the challenge of becoming the best version of yourself while helping shape this city's economic development. Right now, they're hiring over 3,000 people for a huge project right here in Central Texas. And you can become a member of Ironworkers Local 482 and take pride in the type of teamwork and craftsmanship that helps shape the future of our great city. So maximize your potential and be your best self today by applying at ironworkers482.org. That's ironworkers482.org. Welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. It is a midweek movie music edition of Ball Don't Lie. That's where my man Patrick takes songs from a soundtrack and plays those selections for Harge 9 based on the songs that are played. We're supposed to gather clues and hints that lead us to the featured film of midweek movie music. And I still don't think I have it. Maybe, man, Harge, what you got?
Can't be Guardians of the Galaxy because
It
we
is
already.
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Again?
Because we did Volume 2 last week.
Wow.
This is Volume 1.
That's the okie doke.
I'm like, you
Okey
okey
doke.
me a couple
That's
times.
called the okie doke there.
Yes, I okie doked you guys.
Oh, that is the okie doke.
yeah,
Okay.
that's two different movies.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay. You
Well
got
done.
us. You got
definitely
us.
did.
You got us.
That is called the okie
Great
doke
job.
there.
Great
Yeah.
job.
I did not expect back-to-back Guardians of the Galaxy. Good job. Hard to say, can't be that. Yes, it was that. All right.
I'm like,
yeah.
we just literally did it last week.
Yeah.
So,
This
okay.
is, I can see the scene, too.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking in my mind. I'm
Yeah.
like, wait a minute.
So this is for part 1?
This is Volume 1.
Okay.
Volume 2 is the one we did last week.
Okay. All right, there you go. Patrick always keep you on your toes for midweek movie music, Guardians of the Galaxy, twice.
yeah.
in a row.
Yeah.
That's never happened. I know that's never happened before.
It has never happened
There's
before.
no way that's ever happened before.
Yep.
Is that a tribute to how good the soundtracks are in your opinion?
It's
Yeah.
a tribute to how good the soundtracks are.
Okay.
It's a tribute to me being behind in work this week, and there being really nothing else that I was going to play this
I
week.
love that.
So,
that is fantastic.
you know,
Well, here's the other
I love
part.
it.
So today I
Well
come in
done. Well done.
and I just happened to go back through our notes from yesterday's show and I go, "Hey, Patrick, today is the 10th." And he's like, "Yeah." And I said, "Yesterday's notes said the 10th." And I think that's why I was kind of thrown off a little bit. He was like, "Well, Harge, I'm always working a day ahead."
Exactly. Hey, bro, trust me, it happens. Hey, trust me, it happens. Sometimes, you just lose track of something here or there.
Exactly.
But shout out to my man Patrick. Okay, so we started out the show talking about the Tooth Fairy because Harge apparently has given out buku bucks.
The Tooth Fairy has given out buku bucks.
Oh, sorry.
Man,
The
come
Tooth Fairy is giving out buku
Isn't that right,
bucks.
Jazzy Bear?
Yes, the
yeah.
Tooth Fairy. My bad. I
Yeah,
apologize.
yeah,
That's,
yeah,
what
yeah.
that's what
You
I
ain't got
meant
no
to
kids.
say. That's what I meant to say. That's what I meant to say.
I got you.
Yes. So the Tooth Fairy, talk about the basically the rate of inflation with Tooth Fairies these days, because you claim your Tooth Fairy is at a $5 flat rate. for teeth,
$5 flat rate.
which is
No matter what tooth it is.
I gotta tell you, that's way higher than any Tooth Fairy that came to Rod B's house back in the day. But Tooth Fairies, you know what? They working hard these days too.
I was going to say, man, they charge taxes.
we got someone who said basically no kids don't get inflation prices. A dollar per tooth. First tooth is $5.
Yep.
Captain Caveman says.
I like it.
Okay, so $5 for the first one, and then the dollar after that. Is that what he's saying?
That's what he's saying.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. He says I'm 42. He said dollar back then, back when he was getting teeth. I don't think I got a dollar. I got like a quarter. I think.
You might have.
I got like a quarter. I don't think I got a dollar. There's no way Henry gave a dollar. My dad was way too.
This
cheap
is the
for a
best
dollar.
one, Rod. This one is right here is great.
I don't believe in the Tooth Fairy.
That's what the son said. Our son said to me, "I don't believe in the Tooth Fairy. I believe in you, Mom. So make it good."
I like that. That's really good. That was good. Someone here says $5 also for the Tooth Fairy in their household. Someone says $5 for the first tooth, $3 for the other. So apparently the first tooth is supposed to get $5 for a lot of people.
No.
And then after that, you can the Tooth Fairy reduces the rate.
Man, you just want to teach these kids disappointment early.
I'm just reading what's on the text
No,
line.
I'm just saying these people are teaching their kids because they're like $5. I'm getting $5 for every tooth. Looking forward to it. I've already planned on the cards I'm gonna buy and the magazine. And then you get there and you're like $3. Like,
Yeah,
y'all got issues?
Yeah, because a $5 flat rate for a tooth, minimum wage is like a couple of more bucks.
Yeah.
That's the reality of the world.
And
It's
they worked hard to lose that tooth.
So Tooth Fairy, just so you know, man,
Yeah.
you ain't living in the real world. Just so you know.
This is a funny one too.
Someone there says, "Yo, my Tooth Fairy gave me food stamps. Remember them paper ones." Okay, there you go.
Hey, whatever it takes, man.
Food stamp. Hey, if you give me the right food stamp, that's more than I got. At
Exactly.
least you can go buy something with it.
Yeah. 50
all right.
cent back then, you was good.
Someone says when I was a kid, I got $15.
Ooh.
$15. That's a Westlake kid
Man,
right there. Hey, what's up? Shout out Westlake.
Yeah, if they gave you $15, that's like, just to let you know, this is for all of them.
Yeah, this for all your teeth.
I'm paying you up front,
For all your teeth.
but I'm coming and getting all your teeth.
I want the wholesale prices for your teeth.
I want all that.
Wow. Okay, there you go. I didn't know that. I was just get Harge to let me know what
There you go.
the tooth fairy, the going rate is for tooth fairies these
Tooth
days.
Fairy is full of discrimination at my house. If only have $1, they get $1. The other day I had a 20. Damn.
See, there you go. Tooth fairy. It's all about how the tooth fairy's feeling that day.
Exactly.
All right. If the tooth fairy's got it, I ain't got it on me. Hey, I ain't got it on
Make
me.
it work. Make it work.
What you got coming up on Harsh Knock Life?
We got the world's strongest man, Mark Henry, coming up to talk a little bit about an event that he has going on here in Austin, Texas. And he's going to talk about AEW coming to the Moody Center. And make sure you go over to hornfm.com and get a chance to win tickets for AEW at the Moody Center May 17th.
I like that. All right, so we'll try to make this quick, and we'll come back to these at the top of the 6 o'clock in case we missed a lot of them. We got sounds courtesy of my man Jeff Howard of Horns 24/7 and my co-host on the Longhorn Blitz podcast, along with Matt Butler. Shout out there. We got sound from Sark on the Texas Fight Tour, as well as Coach Rodney Terry on the Texas Fight Tour. So we'll start with the Sark sound. If we don't get to all of it, we'll make sure we make plenty of time for Mark Henry. So the first piece of sound is Sark being asked about the transfer portal and really how Texas has honestly been faring really well in the transfer portal era because they don't have a lot of guys that want to leave. And actually, one of the problems Texas has, a first world problem, they can't make room to bring in new transfers via the transfer portal, like a lot of them anyway. They got to be really selective because they don't have a lot of guys leaving. They don't have a lot of room on the roster because guys aren't leaving. Guys are staying in the program. We talked about Malik Murphy, him staying with the program recently after it was reported that he was courted via the transfer portal by other programs, other Power 5 programs. Here's Sark talking about their secret to the new culture and why guys have stayed so faithful in the transfer portal era.
Well, I think it's helpful. At the end of the day, we try to be honest with our players. I talked about that earlier. I think players want to be coached. They want to know where they stand, and then they want to know how you're going to help them improve and develop into the players that they want to become. And so, we try to do that. And we try to be honest with them. We try to have those exit meetings at the end of the regular season, those exit meetings after spring football practice, and tell them exactly where they stand and then what they need to do to improve and then how we're going to help them make that happen. And I think the players appreciate it. But I do think we've got a tight-knit locker room. We've got a tight-knit just kind of building an organization. I think we've got everybody kind of, pulling the rope in the same direction right now, which is a really good thing.
So he's right about that. Like I said, the Malik Murphy I guess re-recruitment or the ability to keep Malik Murphy happy and satisfied and away from the transfer portal. Got him an NIL deal, reportedly. Chip Brown reported that as well, or at least a new NIL deal, a more robust NIL deal, the bag.
More lucrative.
A capacious bag.
There you go.
But, yeah, I think it is the culture, too. The guys want to play for Sark. They want to play for the program. They like what's going on right now with the culture.
Yeah, we've talked about this before, and you look at the transfer portal and you see who was gone early. And then as everything started to happen, you sit there and you say, all right, who's going to jump in there now? And now nobody wants to leave. They see the vision. They see what direction this program's going in, whether it is NIL or whatever else it may be. But you sit here and you look at this team, and obviously the narrative across the nation is it looks like Texas is headed in the right spot. So guys want to be a part of that. It's easier to transfer when your team is winning as opposed to losing.
That is true. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, and shout out to the BMDs, big money donors and boosters. That the NIL is part of it now. That is part of the experience of being a student athlete. No longer applies actually.
Right.
Now you do get compensated for your skills and your services as a student athlete. So I do think for Texas to make sure that they are one of the leading very progressive institutions when it comes to NIL is a part of now them being a pioneer and them being one of the best football programs in America. If you ain't got your NIL together, it's just going to make it tougher to compete. And the portal and NIL are inextricably linked.
Right.
They are.
They're all together.
They're linked together. We know that now.
We know the conversations behind the scenes always end up
Exactly.
at that. It has zero to do with the playing time. It has everything to do with how much money.
Exactly. And I think it makes it tougher. I think we all agree to have a positive culture these days where players want to stick around and they want to, I'm going to say wait their turn, but they're, I say willing to wait their turn if you're building depth. And, Rojo, we talked about him yesterday. He might be a big part of starting that because Rojo could have left last year and did not. I'm sure he got a better NIL deal, and that's part of it too, to stay at Texas. But he wanted to be a part of building something, and I think there's some other guys now that they also, maybe they saw that example, or at least a lot of guys are willing to set that example. Here's another cut about the transfer portal. This is about adapting to the transfer portal and how Sark and his staff have adapted in the new age of a free market hitting college sports in the transfer portal era.
Well, I think one, we have to say to ourselves, it's a reality, right? That's going to happen. I don't think we can walk around with our head in our sand that, hey, we're going to recruit good players and it's just going to be great. No one's going to try to come poach our guys. But two, I just think that's where your culture kicks in, that we've got such a good culture right now that I don't think players really want to leave. All right. Now, there's times when we may have to try to get creative ways to get them to want to stay, but I don't think we have guys on our team that are just thinking, I want to get the heck out of here. I don't like the locker room. I don't like my coach. I don't like our system or our schemes. I think that we've got a lot of players that like what we do. They like the environment. They like the culture that we have. They feel like they're improving and getting better. But I definitely am aware of people are probably going to try to come after our guys, and that's okay. We just got to make sure we handle it accordingly.
Yeah, I mean, that tampering is, we talked about it, the most violated rule on the books. It's like speeding. Everybody does it. You speed, and your mama speeds. Unfortunately, your wife, your husband, they all speed. You try to tell your kids, the kids don't speed, all right? But everybody does it. It's the most violated law on the books, and tampering is the most violated rule on the books. Everybody's doing it. And by the way, I include Texas in that, by the way. Yep. I'm not trying to say Texas somehow holier than thou, but I will say that he said, just like you got to get used to it, guys are going to be trying to poach your players and tamper with your players. It's kind of like having a hot wife. I mean, somebody's going to hit on your hot wife. That's just the way it is. Yeah. It's a backhanded compliment. You got a Malik Murphy on that second string on your roster with an arm like that could be starting for most Power 5 schools. Sorry. I mean, somebody's going to hit on your wife.
Yeah.
Now, if your wife is loyal, all right, then you ain't got nothing to worry about. All right. If you're handling business, then you're good. She's going to remain loyal. But if she is offered, I don't know, some indecent proposal of some kind, a capacious bag, then maybe they decide to take that. That is the new age of the transfer portal era.
Well, nowadays,
can't avoid that.
Nowadays, if you offer the bag and your wife is involved, sometimes you might take it a little less charge. You know what I'm saying? You might Venmo me, dog. Venmo. Not me personally, but I'm just saying there are some people out there that be like, all right, go, yeah.
My point is it's a compliment when somebody hits on your wife.
Yeah.
It's a compliment when somebody comes after your players.
Well, when you look at your players, yeah, and you've talked about this before, you've gone through the list of where these guys are going, because what has been the meter of if you got quality players. That's if they go to those higher level schools. Yep. You've seen different players go to schools and you're like, oh, okay. That means that Texas is recruiting well, because if they come and poach a guy and he ends up going to like Notre Dame or an LSU, you're like, okay, then you're seeing the team being recruited the right way. So I agree with you on that.
All right, next cut here is Sark talking about the offense. This will be the last one because we got to get to the break because we got Mark Henry, WWE legend, coming up next. This one's about Quinn Ewers, though, and Sark, of course, being asked a lot about Quinn Ewers and his development and how Quinn Ewers is coming along. Here is Sark talking about Quinn's development this spring.
Yeah, no, I think at the end of the day, everybody wants balance in their scheme. It doesn't matter if you're a pro style offense, a spread, an air raid. That how you get to it really doesn't matter. But at the end of the day, I think you have to have the ability to be able to run it. You have to have the ability to be able to throw it. You have the ability to block people. You have to have the ability to win one-on-one matchups, whether it's with the ball in your hands or in your route running. And the quarterback drives a lot of that home because he's the guy that kind of stirs the drink, right? I mean, he's the one that has to make those throws sometimes under duress and get you into the best play possible and make those reads and things of that nature. But the quarterback's best friend is a really good running game. And when you can run the ball well and you have people deploying to try to stop the run, now you should find some advantageous throws down the field when you can do that.
Yeah, Sark says he wants to run the ball. They did not run it well without Bijan and Rojo in the bowl game. So I think the challenge for Sark will be without the cheat codes of Bijan and Rojo to NFL running backs. How do you spark that running game? How do you bring it to life? How do you provide the running game with its own identity, its own unique identity without Bijan and Rojo? Because basically they were training wheels for your offense. So he's had training wheels as an offensive coordinator, in my opinion, since he's been the offensive mind. He's a play caller and head coach as an offensive mind. Now no training wheels. What do you do? He just said for a quarterback, best friends the running game. You may not have a great running game. It may be an average running game.
But will that be enough and be effective enough for you to be successful? And that has been the biggest question. We all know that you can't replace those two guys. You can get guys to go out there and run the ball. You can, but they won't be breaking those tackles, those numbers that you give us about how they were 1 and 2 and breaking tackles. But now you have an opportunity to go out there and say, all right, we're going to get 5, 10 yards, maybe 20 on a drive, but we're going to get most of it through the air. So it depends on how you're going to find the balance. But most importantly, quick game, quick game, quick game. So your running game can be some quick passes, getting it out of your hand and getting it in some playmakers' hands and letting them put in all the work if you're not going to be as effective in the run game as we think.
All right, let's get to the break here. You got a special guest coming up next.
That's right, the world's strongest man, Mark Henry, talking about an event that's coming to Austin, Texas, the Big Lift. And he's also going to talk about AEW that is also coming to the Moody Center here in the next week. So it's going to be fun. Go to hornfm.com to find out more details as well. Mike Hart here for my friends over at Quick Roofing. Texas had some crazy weather. Matter of fact, there was some that was last night, whether it was hail, high winds, or heavy rains. And a lot of people don't even think about what's going on their roof. So make sure you do yourself a favor and hit up quickroofing.com. Quick Roofing has been around for 39 years. And if you've been in business that long, that's because you got a great reputation of customer service. And of course, you are taking care of everyone around you. Make sure you go over there and you get a free, no obligation inspection. Quick Roofing requires a project manager on every job site, ensuring that you, the customer, get everything that you were promised. Quick Roofing is fully insured and have all state and local licenses as well. Quick Roofing doesn't even require any money up front until 100% completion and, of course, 100% satisfaction. With all that, you get a 7-year workmanship warranty. So what are you waiting on? Do yourself a favor and get over there and get that free inspection. Go to quickroofing.com today. That is quickroofing.com.
like that.
Welcome back to a mid-movie edition of Ball Don't Lie. It's your boy Hardball Harge. In our midweek movie, Patrick got us stumped. It was Guardians of the Galaxy, number 2?
Original.
The original one.
The original.
Number 1.
Number 2 was
with
last.
the music that kind of got us thrown
Sequel
off.
was last week.
Kind of got me confused for a minute. I didn't want to believe it, but he said it can happen, so it did happen.
Okie doke on us.
He did. But it's your boy Hardball Harge. You can follow me on Twitter at Hardball Harge. You can follow my man Rob Babers at Rob Babers. And, of course, you can follow the man who tries to trick us at It's Patrick Davis. We also love it when you're a part of the show, so hit us up on the Specs text line, 512-337-3776. And we are efforting one Mark Henry. You know, he's a busy man. He's in Detroit right now, so he's in there getting some things done, so we're hopeful that he'll give us a call back here in just a minute. But the event that he has that is coming on, and I'm going to talk a little bit about it real quick before I talk about Texas baseball, is called Mark Henry's Big Lift, benefiting the USA Weightlifting Foundation. You can go to usaweightliftingfoundation.org. You can get tickets there, or you can go to our website at hornfm.com as well, and you can find out a little bit more information. Mark Henry does such a great job, and it's going to be held Friday, May 19th at the Hotel Van Zant in Austin, Texas.
It's nice.
So it's a beautiful spot, and if you can get out there, and his tagline is "Forget the bow ties and the fancy ball gowns, and just come ready to have a good time."
Nice.
So we gotta always love that. But last night I got a chance to do the baseball game with one Craig Way, and we got a chance to watch UT Arlington come in and take on the Texas Longhorns. Texas Longhorns got the W 10-5. It's been an interesting time because this is the first time in 2 weeks that the baseball team has been home. I mean, they've been on the road the entire time, and now they get a chance to come back home and got a 7-game homestand. And Mark Henry's calling me on my phone right now. So go ahead and give him a call, Patrick. So you sit there and you look at what this baseball team was able to do. This is the 50-game mark. They're right at 50 games. They're 33-17. They need a bunch of wins. And as you start looking at the season and how you're going to get yourself set up to get into the Big 12 Conference Tournament, it's all about seedings, and you want to be able to set yourself up to have a chance to play for a Big 12 championship, regular season championship, because they get a chance to finish the season with West Virginia. Yep. The odds are not in their favor when you look at how many games apart that they are right now with West Virginia, but they're also looking to have that opportunity to be there as well. So it's going to be a fun watch. Last night I got a chance to watch Porter Brown hit a home run that was so prodigious that it was hit the opposite field so far that I thought he was right-handed the way that he hit it. As soon as he hit it, I told Craig Way, I was like, I think that is the farthest ball that I've ever seen hit the opposite direction. So it was really exciting. But joining us right now on the Vaqueros Cafe and Cantina hotline is a man that we've talked about. He is the world's strongest man. He's a WWE Hall of Famer. He's a friend of the show. And a lot of people like to call him Sexual Chocolate, but we just like to call him Mark Henry. Mark, how you doing, buddy?
Man, I'm doing great, man. Good to hear your voice.
Glad to hear your voice as well, man. We know that this next week is a big week for you. Well, every week is a big week for Mark Henry. Damn right. But next week you're going to be back in Austin, Texas. You have AEW that is coming in, as well as a fancy event that you're throwing at the Hotel Van Zant. So give us the breakdown on what you have going on next week.
Well, I'm really excited about Wednesday. AEW going to the Moody Center, bro. Like we've wrestled around Austin, all shapes and forms of buildings, and now we are in the Moody Center where I really wanted to be. Really looking forward to getting there and showing the Austin proper what AEW is all about.
Yeah, I know. That's going to be so much fun, man. I got a chance to watch AEW a couple times at the HEB Center, Cedar Park Center, and it's an intimate venue, but so is the Moody Center. And, you know, with all the acoustics that are there, and I know you guys like to to do a special entrance a lot of those times and getting the fans involved with everything. That's going to be a big opportunity for AEW, right?
Not only is it going to be a big event for AEW, but it's going to be a big event for the Moody Center because there's been wrestling, but there's been nothing like AEW in that building. We're going to have people screaming and cheering from the rafters, and then we got some special guests that's going to show up. I'm not at liberty to tell y'all, as much as I love y'all, I cannot tell you who the special guests are going to be, but it's going to be live.
Oh, man, I already know. See, now you got me curious, man. Now I'm just give out a little hint or something like that. Is it somebody that's in Texas? Is it a Texas affiliated, meaning the state of Texas affiliated person?
It's a state of Texas affiliate.
All right. Okay, that's all I'm asking. I don't want you to get in trouble. That's all I'll ask on that one. No doubt about it.
No more hints. No more hints.
No more hits. WWE.
But I would like to tell y'all about, the big event.
Yes.
It's called Mark Henry's Big Lift. Being an Olympic athlete, I lived at the Olympic Training Center, and I know what it was like to work a 8-hour shift and go to school and try to train for 5 hours a day. It was very difficult to do. And I mean, if you wanted to eat and go out to eat on have a date, do stuff, fill your car up with gas, you had to work. And I was suffering in my training. So when it comes to the Olympic year, you want the talent to not focus so much on work, but on their training. So that was the brainchild of this fundraiser that I'm doing. Is I wanted all the men and all the women to get the same amount of money and a stipend that could support them in the Olympic year. And we've done that. We've done a really good job so far, but we're not done. We're far from done. We want to ask for sponsorship. We want to ask for people to support the Olympic Weightlifting Foundation. And, it's near and dear to my heart. You know how I am when it comes to trying to make it better for people that were just like me. And these athletes, they need our help. And I'm doing my best to give it to them.
So, Mark, we're talking to the world's strongest man, Mark Henry. You can follow him on Twitter at the Mark Henry. I wanted to ask you about that. So we're sitting here looking at it. I'm looking at the website, and there's a place to donate. So you were just talking about it. You're looking for sponsorship. You're looking for donations. What is it that these people can do to help, and where are you directing them as well?
Well, I mean, if you go on the site, like you'll see that it's very easy to donate, and it's very easy to become a sponsor. We have our number one person that's handling everything, Paige. And Paige, listen, man, you talk about worth her weight in gold. She has done a really good job, and she asked me, how do you want to get this done? I said, I want it to be easy as possible. People could go on themarkhenry.com and look up all of the information, as well as definitely reach out. There's so many different ways to do it, and I want to make sure that everybody has that.
And one of the ways you can find out more information, you can go to hornfm.com because we posted some info up there. You also can just go to our events page up there. There's a great little link there to give you all the information you need. And how many years have you been kind of really trying to spearhead this cause, Mark Henry?
It's been about 3 years. I'm on the board of the U.S. Weightlifting Foundation. And, basically out of love, man, for the sport, there was a time when, they were trying to kick our sport out of the Olympics. And I wasn't about to have it. So, I was the bat for keeping the sport in the Olympics. And then somewhere along the line, there's like, Mark, we appreciate your support. Like, if you want to do more, then, we'd love to have you on our board. And I was like, yes, that was easy. got to do is ask.
No.
It's so much fun, man, working with all the people that are at the U.S. Weightlifting Foundation. And you can go to the U.S. weightliftingfoundation.org and get the information as well. Like, man, I just love being around like-minded people. We all want to help these young men, young women rise to the top and be the best that they can be in the Olympic Games. And on the Olympic year, they just can't work full jobs. There's not enough time in the day to work a full job and train the way we train.
Yeah, that's the tough part about it, especially because of the training that goes into it and all the efforts that are going on, not only with you as the athlete, but your family, your friends, the discipline that goes into it. There's a lot that happens behind the scene for you to go out there and chase your dream of getting that goal. And speaking of getting that goal, I got to talk to you about your purple and gold, your L.A. Lakers. I follow you on Twitter, so I see you jabbing at people. Do they clinch it tonight and take it over and move to the next round? Because there's a lot of people been real quiet since they started winning these games.
They have to. They have to. You cannot kick a man and expect for him to stay down. They won the championship last year. It's not like they don't have championship pedigree. So, like, when you get somebody that knows how to rise up, you have got to put your foot in their throat and not allow them to get up. If they don't win this game tonight, it may go 7.
Wow. You think that, huh? You think it's that easy, huh?
It's scary.
Man, it's hard to knock off the existing champion. And as much as I'm a fan of basketball and the Lakers, I know the heart of a champion. And Steph Curry and company, they had a bunch of guys not perform very well. Klay Thompson did not perform well. Jordan Poole did not perform well. If those two guys can up their game just a little bit, like they would have beat the Lakers the last game. So the Lakers got to keep them down while they're down and not allow them to get in a rhythm. And then we'll maybe see LeBron James. We might see him in the championship again.
Man, that would be great for TV. That'll be great for LeBron's legacy. And for what Anthony Davis as well, he's another one that has had to step up in this playoffs. And everybody, my man Patrick calls them street clothes like everybody else, but he's keeping his uniform on. He's keeping his uniform on.
Hey man, I'm gonna tell you though, every time he fall down, take a tumble, I just hold my breath.
You got to gasp every single time.
It makes me think every time he hiccup, he going to miss a game. Oh, my God.
We're talking to the world's strongest man, the Mark Henry. You can follow him on Twitter.
I got a question for you, Hart.
Come on, man.
Give it to him.
What did you think about Coach Sark saying that he loves his team?
Well, to be quite,
you know what that sound? You know what it sounds like to me?
What?
I think I got it the way I want it.
That's what Rod and I were talking, and when you hear that conversation and you hear him feeling real comfortable about what he's seeing every single day, because we're not there. We're not privy to the practices. We're not there from when he first got here to where he is now, the players that he's brought in. And the biggest thing that you can say about Coach Sark right now is the fact that nobody's entering the transfer portal. Now the portal's going to open up one more time, and there's going to be some opportunity for that. But as of right now, it seems like everybody on this team wants to be here, and that's a huge part of building that culture that he was looking for. So I do like it. At first, I was kind of questioning it, but when you do a little bit more digging and you understand what he's talking about, and it seems like across America, everybody's drinking that Kool-Aid right now. So I'm excited to see what he's going to do once we really get to put it in the dirt, though.
I'm going to lean into what Rod Babers said 2 weeks ago when he said that there are two kinds of players. There's guys that play at Texas, and then there's guys that want to compete at Texas. They want to win at Texas. And I think that Sark has enough of those guys that he made a statement like, I love my team, which basically translates into I'll take my guys over your guys.
Mm-hmm.
You can get that in your program and you can instill that in your players. They play harder because it's expected of you to play harder. It's expected of you to try to do the extra work when nobody's watching. And I feel like that if he said that, then, man, maybe this is the year.
Oh, you
like
know
it.
what? It's the perfect time, man. It's the last Big 12 12 title you're going to get a chance to win. This is it. You're moving on to the SEC now, baby.
Remember when the Big 12 went kaput, or the Southwest Conference went kaput?
Yeah, they did walk it off, didn't they?
What did Texas do to Texas A&M?
They walked it off.
They won the last Southwest Conference and the first Big 12, correct? Did Texas, is that right?
Yes, sir. That's what Texas is based on, is closing it. And I feel like, you got to you're a baseball guy. You know how valuable a closer is. And I think that Texas is going to have to close this. Like, you're going to have to end it on a good note. And it don't matter what everybody came before. In pro wrestling, people always say the only thing you're going to remember is the finish.
There it is. There it is. I love it.
And look at him. That's how he finished strong. I like that.
And that's how he walks it off. That's how he walks
Hall
it
of
off.
Famer.
Hall of Famer. That's our guy. Mark, as usual, man, we love it when you give us a call. And I know that Patrick's got you on block, but
it wasn't us.
It wasn't us.
Mark.
Just so you know, it wasn't us,
You're going to
man.
have to see me.
He gonna have to see
Y'all
me.
trying to throw me under the bus over here.
Mark, man, we appreciate you. Make sure you go to hornfm.com and find on our page, and you can find out more about Mark's big lift where he's helping the USA Weightlifting Foundation, or you can go to USA weightliftingfoundation.org. And again, we're giving you a chance to win some tickets for AEW as they come to the Moody Center, and my man Mark Henry is real excited about that.
I am, man. May 19th at the Van Zandt Hotel at 6 o'clock. Y'all show up, and we're going to show out.
I love
No
it.
doubt.
I
Thanks,
love
Mark.
it.
Good
Thanks,
man.
Mark. Appreciate you, brother.
I appreciate y'all, man. I'm going to call in next week about the Cowboys.
All right, can't wait.
You ain't going to be blocked either. That's on Pat.
I better not be.
Thanks, Mark.
Appreciate you, Mark.
Hall of Famer, world's strongest man, and all those things are true. Those are facts.
Those are facts.
Those are facts.
Do your research because that's there for you.
Yeah, the research, right? Yeah, Mark Henry, man, he's family. He's great. He's good people too.
Yes,
That's a great event, May 19th. If you need more information, you said a USA. USA
weightliftingfoundation.org. Yeah.
But also you can go to hornfm.com and there's also a link there. And Harge tweeted out a link. So go to Hardball Harge, his Twitterverse or his Twitter page, I should say, and he tweeted out a link as well. All right, thanks to Mark Henry. We'll come back. We'll get into off the record on the other side. There's a ton of off the record stories. There's even an old one that I want to ask Harge about, and I believe my man Patrick pulled the audio for. We might get into that as well. All of that and more right here on Ball Don't Lie on 104.9 The Horn. All right, welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. This sound that I want to get to was from a while ago, but I haven't had a chance to play it, and I wanted to get Harge's thoughts on it. So Patrick Beverley has a podcast. Is it a Patrick Beverley podcast?
I know he has his own, yeah.
Yeah. So he talks a lot of trash on his podcast, as you could believe. But he had something interesting to say. It was kind of a little anecdote, but then they turned it into an actual topic. And I believe the question is actually in the audio, so I'll let them just frame it for you. My man Patrick, shout out to him because I think he had to bleep this because of a lot of bombs that were dropped. But here's Patrick Beverley on his podcast, and then we can come back and discuss it after.
50, and I was like being nice.
Really?
Yeah.
People want to hear more about that.
Okay, let's talk about it.
How can you tell when someone doesn't love basketball?
Preparation.
What parts of preparation?
Anything. You like a girl? You think you like a girl? What do you do for her? You go send her roses. That's being prepared. You go buy her nice things. That's part of preparation. You go wash your car. She might even have a car. You go wash your shit, though, when you go pick her up. That's part of preparation. You done called the restaurant already. What you want to eat. That's part of preparation. You got to go to the bank. That's preparation. I mean, you're doing all these things before you even pick the girl up at 7 o'clock. Now, can you have all that energy and put it in basketball? Is it watching film? Is it extra shots? Is it free throws? Is it working on offhand? Is it working on shots that you might not even use? It's to have some in your back pocket. Preparation. How prepared are you? Do you know the coach's philosophy? Do you know what the coaches want from you? You know, it might be different what you want from you. You know, so you have to. So when it comes to preparation,
what is it like when you have a teammate who you know doesn't love basketball?
Most teammates I know who don't love basketball are the really good ones. Like, are the most skilled ones. It's the wildest in the world.
How does that work?
Because the skill you have so much skill, you know, it's free flowing. You know, you get a guy who get all the girls, you ain't got to do the preparation. You ain't got to get your car washed. You ain't got to order a restaurant. You get all the ladies.
All right, I was terrible at setting that up. Basically, the beginning of it, he's saying he believes 50% of NBA players don't love the game. That was his initial take, and then, of course, you heard the rest of it. He goes on the rant. I don't think 50% in the NFL would be an accurate number, but I do remember meeting guys in the NFL that didn't love football, and it was a little surprising. They just didn't love it. They just went to a job, just like most of you guys out there go to a job. Now, some of you love your job, and it's more of a profession for you than a job. But there were guys in the NFL that didn't love it. They didn't have really a passion for it. When they checked out, they were during practice, they were done. Why the hell would they stay after practice for a job that they don't love? Right. Would you stay at your job if you don't like that job? Would you stay an extra hour? No, you wouldn't. You get the hell out of there because you don't like your job. There were genuinely guys in the NFL, they didn't love the job. Now, they hate their job? No. There were some that didn't like going. Listen, if you don't love football, it's hard.
It's really hard.
It's hard. It's hard if you don't love it. So now, was it 50%? No, it's probably like 15 to 20%, maybe somewhere around there. But there are definitely those guys, Harge. They existed. 50% is a high number. Maybe in the NBA it's higher because in the NBA, you know, a lot of what, you know, is determined, what's going to determine your future NBA is your height. Are you tall enough to even play or get a shot at a basketball scholarship or on an AAU team or whatever it may be? At least in football and in baseball, it's more cultivating skill sets. Not saying you can't cultivate a skill set or don't need to in basketball, but saying a lot of it is, are you tall enough?
Right.
Do you have height? If you ain't got a height, then
you're not playing anyway. You can have a heart of a lion out there. But,
Rob B, 5'8", might as well give it up. Sophomore year of high school, it ain't happening, homeboy. So just move on to the next one. And I think a lot of the guys in the NBA, maybe the number is so high is because they are kind of ushered through the cycle, if you will, AAU. And how many dual sport athletes end up playing basketball at a higher level? There are more dual sport athletes playing football, maybe in baseball and track, in my opinion. Just saying not as many. And I think also that leads to some guys getting a little burnout. And maybe the burnout is part of why you don't love the game as much at the higher level.
And that's the other part of it. When you get to a certain level, it's they always say it's easier to get there than it is to stay there. And that happens in multiple sports and in multiple levels. It's what you do once you get there to make sure that you're able to stay there. And that's been the biggest challenge for some of them. Like Patrick Beverly, if you go and look at his story, that's why he feels that way. He was a savage about it because he wasn't the biggest guy. He wasn't the best player. He wasn't this. He wasn't that, but he worked his tail off to get there. And that's why he was jumping on the table crying when they won that first play-in game because of the passion. I played too hard for this. You know, you work to a certain level. Well, there are some guys that have been naturally blessed with it. And they are there because they have been blessed, but they don't mean that they love it. Yeah. Like you said, they can leave right away because that money's guaranteed too. You know what I'm saying? So when you look at that, you're like, all right, I got here. I'm going to make this money, and I'm going to skate off. Or I'm going to be here for a while because there's nobody better than me at this point. Yeah. So what do I need to do? I'm doing enough.
Fans don't think of that, but it does happen. I don't know what baseball, what would you say a number is in baseball of guys who don't love the game?
Well, I mean, back when I was playing, there was a lot of guys that didn't love the game of baseball, but they, like you said, they were better than everybody else.
If you're good at something, they were better. You want to do it.
They were the first ones in the shower and out.
Yeah.
But after they go 3 for 4, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it was like, man, I'm out of here. I don't need to stick around.
Somebody's willing to give you perks, benefits, and pay you for a skill. And if you don't necessarily like to cultivate that skill or something you don't like doing, you'll still do it.
Yep. You're still going to do it.
I think there. So I said, I don't know if it's 50% is pretty high.
That is.
You said it's high in baseball.
It's very high in baseball, but you got to look at it too.
In football, it's not high because it ain't no guaranteed money either. Well, you got to work. You got to grind for it a little bit more.
And you look at basketball, the numbers are smaller. So you look at what the bench is, and you're like, okay, you got 5 guys. What is it, Patrick? Normally like 11 guys on the squad.
12 to 15.
12 to 15. And then you look at baseball, you got a 40-man roster, and you got regular 26 guys that you carry on a roster. So, but then you look at all the minor league systems and everything that's in there, they're filling it. That's why they cut out a bunch of teams. Remember that they downsized a lot and got rid of some of those things. So it's an interesting take, and like you said, 50%. That's a huge number, man.
Big number.
That's a big number, especially for a small number of players that are on each team.
Yeah. No, I thought it was an interesting conversation. All right, let's come back. We'll get into NBA playoff review, and we'll preview the Lakers-Warriors matchup coming up tonight right here on Ball Don't Lie, 104.9 Horn.
Mike Harge here, and now it's time to be part of the Premier Rugby Sevens action. Come out and party with the PR Sevens for the Eastern Conference kickoff on Saturday, June 17th at Q2 Stadium. The Texas team dominates the pitch like a herd of wild Mustangs. Their shields flashes warning colors of sandstone orange and slate gray like the mighty rock formations in the vast Texas canyons. Representing the Lone Star State, the Team Texas will charge the pitch with fearsome horsepower before their opponents can even try. Catch professional rugby at its best. See the team, the headliners, locals, and the men's and women Team Texas battle for a spot in the championship. Don't miss out on the ultimate fan fest with games, drinks, music, and so much more. It's all at Q2 Stadium Saturday, June 17th. To get your tickets, go to pr7s.com. That's pr7s.com.
All right, welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. It is a midweek movie music edition of Ball Don't Lie on 104.9 The Horn. That's when Patrick takes jams that reached actually from a soundtrack that inspired him somehow and plays those selections. And based on the selections that are played, Harj and I are supposed to guess what the featured film is for midweek movie music. Harj actually got it by accident, kind of stumbled upon
Exactly.
it. He actually got it. It was Guardians of the Galaxy Part 1. And the sequel we did last week for midweek movie music. So my man Patrick tried to pull the okey doke on us on that one. All right, so
and to CB, I know that Twister came out. CB was right. He said the movie anniversary today is Twister. It does have a
Twister.
Twister has a soundtrack with a lot of famous names on it. Not a lot of great songs for the radio.
Right.
A lot of kind of more in your feeling songs.
Oh yeah, I could believe
Yeah,
it. Because
it was-
and they're remaking Twister, aren't they?
Are they?
I think I saw that they're remaking. They remake
What?
everything. They remake everything. Come on.
Yeah, they do.
So
remake
they're
everything.
definitely remaking Twister. I believe I saw the hell. CB might have sent that to me. Honestly, CB will resend it to me if I did miss that. Shout out to all the listeners out there, not just my man CB. You can hit us up on the Specs text line 512-337-3776. That is the number to the Specs text line. You also hit us up via the Twitterverse. My man Harj is at Hardball Harj in the Twitterverse. Patrick Davis at It's Patrick Davis in the Twitterverse. I'm at Rod Babers. We did have a interesting conversation about the Tooth Fairy and keeping up with the times because Harj, the Tooth Fairy in his house, he did remind us that the Tooth Fairy, which is a lady in your house, but a Tooth Fairy can be whatever your household imagine it to be. All right,
Very
Tooth
true.
Fairy can fill all of those different roles. But yeah, come to find out in Harj's household, the Tooth Fairy giving $5
5.
flat rate
Yep.
for the tooth.
Stuck on that.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Master Gardner says everyone knows you pay the most for the first one. Mm-hmm. That's what the Tooth Fairy usually does.
We're doing consistency
See,
around my house.
it's consistency over there.
Show
at-
up and
at
be
Harj's house.
consistent. That's right.
There you go. I like that.
Yep.
Tooth Fairy. This text says if I get to pull the tooth, they get 20 from the Tooth Fairy. Ooh. Well, you pulled all of my damn teeth if I was a kid. 20? That's the highest we've had. We had a $15 Tooth Fairy up here at one time.
$15. That's right.
That was at Westlake Tooth Fairy.
$20. You giving out full size. You giving out jumbo size candy bars.
Yeah.
The Sharon size candy
Yeah.
bars at Halloween.
That is true. That's right. That full size, king size Snickers bar, man.
Exactly.
That's still like a folklore. That's urban legend, man. That full size Snicker bar.
No, I seen it.
In Westlake?
Oh no, I ain't seen it over
No,
there.
just saying, where'd you see it?
We had it. Somebody gave it to one of our kids in our neighborhood.
You got a full size Snickers?
Full size, grown,
Wow, that's crazy.
grown one.
That's
Which
strange.
was very awkward too, by the way.
How many full size candy bars are they giving out?
I think they were giving them to all the kids.
Did they win the lottery or something?
Maybe.
Did this family still live in the
Or
neighborhood?
maybe they still live in the neighborhood.
Are they like? Do they
Maybe
ball
they're
it? Like, do they drive?
Maybe
like,
they're just quiet.
Do they drive like really nice cars? Like, do they have a pool? Like,
I personally
like,
didn't
they
go on
ball
the
out?
walk. I personally didn't go on the walk. I was at home giving out the candy.
Full size. I
They
mean,
wasn't getting much
king
from our
size.
house.
King size, not full
Economy
full
size.
It was the king size.
The king size.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's wild. Usually you get the the snack size. For Halloween.
That's the one that I like when they
All
bring
right.
it into the
they
house.
are definitely giving out the Tooth Fairy that household $20 bills
Exactly.
for a teeth.
And they ain't got no teeth in there
And
because
I
they've
think
been
they
eating
might
too
have
much
a
candy.
Tesla. I think they might have a
They
Tesla.
got a Tesla.
They might got a Tesla.
That sounds about right.
And if you want to join in, we got the conversation on the. There's a poll on the Twitter, the Horn FM Twitter. Has been a poll put up
okay.
asking if it's $5 or less or more than $5.
No doubt.
For your Tooth Fairy.
I thought Harj's Tooth Fairy at their household was, being generous. Turns out you kind of around the average.
That's why that's what
got
we
some-
are. We're average people,
Some
man. We try to
15
be
and
around
20.
average.
We did get some. There's people that said that their Tooth Fairy starts the first tooth you get, a larger amount, maybe a 10, 5, and then after that is a reduced rate for the tooth. So I gotta tell you, this Tooth Fairy, we need consistency because she seems to be, or he, she, well, they. The Tooth Fairy seems to have a different policy.
Right.
As they,
It's not universal, man.
go to different communities and
It
different
depends
households.
on where you live.
Okay.
Depends on where you live.
So the Tooth Fairy caters it just for your house.
The Tooth Fairy's
That's
got
what
like
it seems like.
They got the New York Stock Exchange up in there. The layer just like, oh, I'm sorry, there. Oh, it's down right now.
The stocks are dropping for the team. That's a great one. You're right about that, Patrick. And CB sent it to me. See, Cruz setting up as Twister sequel. About to start shooting in parts of Oklahoma. Thank you, CB. At Chris GB002000. Told you.
Okay.
I know. This Twister sequel or a remake? Is that a remake or a sequel? Can't be a sequel.
If it
Sequel
is, it's
seems
number
weird.
2, right?
Oh, the sequel too. I think a lot of those guys aren't alive anymore. Like a lot of the actors.
because
have
you're right. The
passed away.
main guy,
Bill
Paxton.
Bill-
Is it Paxton?
Yeah,
it was
Paxton,
Paxton.
right?
He's-
He's gone.
he's passed
Philip
away.
Seymour Hoffman was in that, I think.
You're
Yeah.
right. I forgot Philip Seymour Hoffman was in that one.
Yeah.
You're right about that one. Good point. Okay. Was it Helen Hunt?
Yeah.
Helen Hunt.
She's
yes.
still around.
In her hot days. That was Helen Hunt when she was a little hottie still. Back then.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, enough about that stuff. Oh, I had a random story I want to bring up. We got to talk some NBA, though. I got another random story. Random conversation.
I like it.
In addition to the Tooth Fairy topic that got hot on the Specs text line, how about this one real quick, though? Think about this, Specs text line, just real quick. And go check it out on the Twitter account, too, at the Horns Twitter account, our Tooth Fairy conversation that really captivated the first couple hours.
Yeah.
How about this one? Energy Star program of the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, the EPA. Probably shouldn't have said that. Some of y'all already turned it off. So y'all already shut up. Shut up, Ron. Also, the U.S. Department of Energy, they said people should set their thermostat to 78 degrees when they are home and need cooling in an effort to save energy.
Wait. Set it to 78?
78 degrees when they are home and need cooling in an effort to save energy during these hotter months. Also, when you're sleeping or away, the suggested temperatures go up. They said when sleeping, it's recommended your thermostat is kept at 82 degrees. Patrick, I know you like that. 82 degrees. And when away, people should set their thermostat to 85 degrees. So we got three different settings here. Sleep setting, like basically your away setting, and then like basically you're going to be away for, I don't know, more than 24 hours setting.
There's no
So you got
way
your
on God's green
sleep-
earth I'm sitting in my house at 78 degrees.
What's your sleep setting, what's your awake setting, and what's your away from the house setting? That's the three settings. They got your sleep setting, they said should be, it's just crazy. That came, they got 82 degrees. We said when sleep, I'm reading it again, when sleeping at 82 degrees.
There's no way I'm comfortable.
And then they said when you're just awake and hit the house needed cooling, 78 degrees. And when you're away from the house, 85 degrees.
Does it save energy when I got 48 fans hooked up around me? Trying to blow on me? Find any cool air anywhere?
When you keep going back to the fridge, open it up, and
Exactly.
get
Standing
drinks.
in there doing like this. Man, I'm dehydrated over here.
All right. So,
There's no way I could sleep at 82 degrees.
no, dude, I sleep at like 68.
That's
Yeah.
what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah, where it's nice. And you could be like, oh, this feels wonderful. Thank you, people who invented AC.
Now, I will say my resting, what means resting, I guess that's during the day. Resting, sleeping, I'm 68. Resting, we're 75. We're at 75.
when you-
resting, like just in the house hanging out, we're at 75.
we keep ours right at 72.
All the time, never move?
No.
For any situation, no sleep, it don't change?
It's set at 72.
We changed based on the situation.
But I will tell you this. There have been times when I've walked into that house and I'm like, are we hanging meat up in here? At 72. I walk by the thermostat and I'm like,
And it's still 72?
It's still 72.
Well, maybe you got a house that cools very easily. Like you got carpet in your house?
No.
Maybe you got good like insulation.
we got something.
Got new window
Because
treatment,
I'm
that kind of
still
stuff.
trying to figure out why it's so cold in there sometimes.
So hard is that 72 all the time. Patrick, sleeping, resting away.
Sleeping, I probably put it 69, 68.
Mm-hmm.
I put it there somewhere to try and then awake and keep it around. Like, so if it's during the day, I'd probably go like 75. And then when it gets to night and then I'm watching a game or something, I might put it down to like 72.
Just because you don't want to be sweat, more bodies in there,
Yeah.
activity. Yeah, I got you. It's cooking, you cooking or
Yeah.
something like that. No, I'm with you. This is absurd. This obviously the people don't live in Texas. Like, what
Right.
are you? And you heard about the grid? We're supposed to be worried about the grid again in case the temperatures get too hot. The grid is also fragile, apparently.
Fragile.
All right, sorry. I didn't want people worked up there. All right, Spec Sex Line, give me your.
Didn't that guy resign? The guy that
Yeah, one dude's gonna solve
Yeah,
the problem,
like-
Marge.
I'm like,
It's
that
one
guy,
dude.
man.
yeah, I'm like, did that dude resign?
I'm sure there were a lot of dudes resigning for Texas because of that grid. All right, give me your sleeping, resting away temperatures in your house, because I remember growing up, you couldn't touch the thermostat.
Oh, my goodness.
My dad, that was fighting.
That was a beat down.
That was you had
was
a
gonna get a
conversation with my dad one-on-one.
You gonna put something on this bill when you try to change it?
Yes, about how much money that you are paying
Yep.
to be able to change the thermostat, and then you had to leave. And my dad, we were always hot. He was always sweating in the house.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So everybody's got their own little, their own comfort zone, I guess, when it comes to thermostats. All right, so give me that on Specs Text Line. Let's get to the Lakers and the Warriors. We reviewed the games from last night earlier in the show. I got a conversation that I want to have about Steph Curry. And I didn't think we'd be having this conversation, but it's so interesting how, the perception can quickly shift about a player.
Uh-huh.
Apparently now Steph Curry is not clutch, because the numbers say he's not clutch.
Mm-hmm.
Steph is 0 of 14 on career shots to take the lead in the final 50 seconds or fourth quarter of overtime in the playoffs. That's crazy.
Right.
I didn't know that. The last 25 years in the final minute of playoff games on three-pointers to tie or take the lead with a minimum of 8 attempts, Steph Curry, 21%. LeBron James at 44%.
Mm-hmm.
Reggie Miller's at 46%. Kobe Bryant's at 17%. KD at 18%, to give you a little perspective. Last 25 years to take the lead or to tie in the final minute of playoff games. And it also points out here that Steph is 6 of 25.
Yeah.
So 24%. And LeBron is 22 of 45.
And 48,
And
49%.
Yeah.
But here's the other part of it. Steph is number 2 on that list. Who's number 1 on that list? Russell Westbrook. Russell Westbrook is 3 of 24 at 12%. He's at 12%. So that goes to show you how
Jimmy Butler's at 46%.
Yeah, Jimmy's a beast. Jimmy kills it.
Yeah.
We've seen it.
Yeah.
When it's clutch time, Jimmy's the one that gets after it. But when you talk about Steph Curry, and people have always said this about LeBron James, and I've always thought it was funny, he's a pass-first guy, and he leads the NBA in scoring. He's the all-time leading scorer in the NBA as a pass-first guy. And then he's not clutch. Well, you just gave the numbers.
No,
LeBron is very clutch.
It's why I love that the narrative keeps shifting. I'm glad that now we do have analytical evidence to show that LeBron is clutch, and that is a fool's argument nowadays.
It
LeBron
is.
ain't clutch. Like, all the numbers say he is clutch. Can
You
we
just don't like
can
him.
We move on to exactly? Can we move on to another critical?
Just say you don't
argument
like him.
of LeBron James's game. Exactly. Say you don't like him, or move on to something else about his game, but don't say he ain't clutch because the numbers say he's clutch. But what about Steph?
Yeah.
Is Steph clutch? Can you be great without being clutch? Because we had this conversation about LeBron, I swear, like 5-6 years ago. Like, oh, he's not clutch, but he's still great. So does this affect his legacy? Because now this has come out in this series. Now, if he comes back down 3-1 in this series, then, this is a moot conversation. Doesn't matter because, hell yeah, you got to be clutch to come back down 3-1. He's going to have to, pull off some clutch shots in clutch moments to do so. But it is interesting that those numbers come out about Steph now that he hasn't really been a clutch guy in the playoffs. Now, they win, but when it comes to the clutch moment and you need Steph to be there, they haven't had as many because they don't need them. But when they need the clutch moment, that Steph hasn't really been that guy for them.
It's the projection of what you see and what you think, right? It's whatever they want us to see. But when you do the brass tacks and you get into those numbers, you see it, bro. That's exactly what it is. Steph he's been good, but he hadn't been great. He's been okay in certain times, and they want to highlight those moments, and that's it. But when you look at the career and look at the numbers of how it's been broken down, he's been pedestrian. He's right next to Russell Westbrook. You know what I'm saying? And what do they say about Russell Westbrook? Oh, he's not a clutch player. He may get all the triple-doubles, but he's not a clutch player. Well, you need to go and look at what Steph's numbers look like too. And you need to flip that narrative of what you've been saying about LeBron not being clutch when the numbers tell you he's very clutch.
Yeah. No, Patrick, your thoughts about Steph's. Will this narrative hurt his overall legacy now that this has kind of, become one of the main talking points against Steph's legacy is that, oh, no, he's an all-time great player, just doesn't have the clutch gene per se?
I think it would hurt if he was held a little bit higher. Like if you try and put him in that conversation with LeBron and Jordan and Kobe and that conversation where he might get to if he continues to have success for 4 or 5 more years, he may get in there and then it can hurt him. But where he is right now, you can't look at all the rest of the numbers and say, no, he's not on that second tier of all-time great players.
Oh, no, he's good. That's what I'm saying. I think he is great. Even as the text says, so Kobe wasn't great. No, Kobe is great, of course. Kobe's great. But is there a perception that Kobe is clutch? And some of the numbers will say that Kobe is not as clutch as a LeBron, although people always assume, no, Kobe is clutch just because he had the competitive sickness. Yes, he did, but also not as clutch as LeBron has been.
No, right. and I mean, there's also things to be said that it's harder to be clutch without size. So the smaller you are, the less strength you have, the easier it is for a guy to stay on top of you at the end of the game, and you can't really put that separation in between you. Whereas LeBron can separate a lot easier because he can use his strength and his size to kind of get a little bit more space and get a shot off. Steph Curry is taking 3 steps back away from Anthony Davis and taking a shot stepping back, which is just an insanely hard shot. And I know he makes it look easy a lot of the game, but that's kind of his shots a lot of times at the end of games are he's running. He's not getting a shot at the basket. Whereas if you watch LeBron, if you watch how Michael Jordan used to do out Kobe, you're aiming to try and get moving forward towards the basket, just makes it an easier shot. So I think there's something that it's just we can, and then Russell Westbrook makes the same too. You're like, for a guard, it's just harder for a point guard, for someone 6'2", 6'3", to be that level of the guy to take a shot at the end of the game when everyone knows you're that guy. It just becomes a little bit harder.
Yeah, I just think it's and I'm a big Steph fan. I'm a huge Steph fan. I think that in our analytical era that we live in, especially the era of social media, which my man Love KD used to always say that basically Twitter's just a bathroom wall.
Right.
And
Charlie Strong said it was the downfall of society.
I don't disagree with that. I think it's a very astute observation. But what I will say that in this day and age, we're going to tear apart a legacy.
For sure.
Right? And analytics helps us do it. And sometimes it can help you prove things too. But, there's a great quote from the Dark Knight movies, you die a hero or live long enough to become a villain. And I think, Steph's probably at the point now where, hey, man, that's just he's been celebrated for so long and beloved for so long. Mm-hmm. It's about now people start trying to tear his legacy apart a little bit. And that's why this new narrative is starting to come to light a little bit, because I didn't know these numbers at all, but analytics, they help us dive deeper into these themes and some of these storylines. And Steph is still one of the all-time greatest players. He's still a GOAT, but just like LeBron's legacy, we've been able to pick it apart due to social media and analytics, unlike we did with MJ's game, because we just didn't have the resources. We didn't have this kind of culture as a fandom. I call them fanlists. Now everybody's a fanlist, right? So we didn't have that culture of the fanlist culture. Now with the fanlist culture, we're going to pick apart everybody's game. I mean, it's just, and I think for Steph, it's just part of it. Is this the only underachieving aspect of his game? Probably so. Like, I don't know if this is the first time we ever heard of him actually being below average in some aspect of his game, pretty much.
Yeah.
Right? What's the other? What other aspect of his game? Is his defense? He's just really below average at defense, or
I wouldn't even say he's below average. I'd say he's probably closer to average.
Considering his size, he actually has either early on in his career lead the NBA in steals a couple of years too.
So but that's
before he started scoring all the time.
Also, steals is also that really weird analytical thing where there's so many guys that were like, they're good at steals, because they don't want to play defense. So they go for steals. So they're really talented and they can judge balls, but it sucks to play defense on a guy because you have to sit there and watch him and watch his eyes, and it's mentally draining, and you have to be in a stance the whole time, defensive stance. And you got to have your hands up. Or if a guy throws a pass over, you go for it, and either your guy scores and you run back down and get a play offense, or you get a steal. So there's a lot of guys who'll be like, man, he was just a thief. And you're like, he was just kind of lazy and knew the easy way out of playing defense was to go for steals.
Yeah, I mean,
so he's talented. He can do
smarter,
it.
Not harder.
Yeah, it's like he's talented enough he can do it. But it's a really misnomer of a stat on a lot of guys that you're like, well, eye test would tell you he doesn't care about defense one bit, but then statistically he leads in steals. but that's because he doesn't care about defense.
Yep.
Yeah, and when you're so off, we give guys a break in terms of being a two-way player when they're elite offensively. You don't ask them to be consistent on both ends of the floor.
Right.
It's like we don't. Nobody
Looking for that 3-and-D guy, right?
Yeah, like,
Yeah.
exactly, right? So for a guy like Steph, I mean, I think people give him a break or even a pass on defense considering how much of a factor and how impactful he's been offensively. Anyway, I thought it was a conversation that we need to have because
I love it.
yeah, it's something that I was unaware of about Steph's resume, if you will. But honestly, I don't think it affects his resume all that much. I think people have seen enough of Steph to know that it's even one of those things where I know that the analytics say, I get it, the analytics say that it doesn't have a great clutch gene. And still, I think just based on it's one of those things where the eye test doesn't necessarily align with the numbers.
Right.
Your eye
right.
test would tell you that Steph is clutch. You just see him.
That's what I'm saying.
time
Like
after
the
time.
perception
Yeah,
is
you're
like, oh my God, he's money. Then you look at the numbers and it's like that's when you always talk about the analytics and the numbers and how they match up and what it says. That's why when you get those numbers, you're like, oh.
Yeah, the evidence showed me something totally different than what my theory or hypothesis was.
Exactly.
And I still probably would take Steph to take a shot.
For sure.
In clutch time. Like, no,
that's
I'll take Steph.
That's why Jordan Poole took the shot the other day because he was like, I seen Steph's number. Like, I'm going to go ahead and jack this up.
That can't be worse than Steph, man. 0-14, man. Jordan Poole probably has that in his phone somewhere. Got a screenshot of it. Come on, man. Look at your numbers, Steph. You see my numbers, man? Oh, that's good. All right. No NBA discussion there. When we come back, we got to get into Rod's round of the day. There is talk that the NFL quarterback market is going to shift dramatically because Patrick Mahomes is about to get an updated extension.
Hello.
That's the word on the street. I don't know what the hell that number's going to be, but trust me, it'll be the biggest number that any NFL player has ever seen on the dotted line. We'll get into that and talk about it and talk about why Patrick Mahomes deserves that money and a whole lot more. All of that and more right here on Ball Don't Lie. 104.9 The Horn. Hey, what's up, folks? Lifetime Longhorn Rod Babers here. We know that time is money, and so do our friends over at Apple Leasing. Our good friend Scott Crossett says all he's trying to do over at Apple Leasing is make friends, and he says, hey, the car business will take care of itself, and it's been taking care of itself for almost 40 years. Pretty good business model they got going over there at Apple Leasing. And what they're doing, they're helping you find your car, the car of your dreams, whatever car you want. They can help you find the make, the model, and actually help you get the price you want as well, and the payment you want. That's what they do. They do it really, really well. And as a matter of fact, my man Haraj, he actually knows about this firsthand.
The reason why I know about it firsthand is because I've been hearing it for years. Everybody talking about Apple leases. I said, you know what? Let me go over there and lease a car. And, man, let me tell you, that was probably the best experience that we've had. Matter of fact, I've done it so much. I've got 3 cars from those guys, and they have done such a great job. You get over there, they make everything so easy for you. You can go up there and get any make and model that you want, and they will find it for you. And everybody's always worried about when you hear the word leasing, you're always thinking about the mileage. Don't worry about it. They will formulate a plan for you to where your mileage doesn't even make a difference. They will make it work for you. All you got to do is get over there, go to appleleasing.com. You can click on that easy lease, and they will take care of it. Whether you ask for my man Jeff Holly or my buddy Chris Andre, they will make sure that you are taken care of. And even ask for my man Lance. He's always in pre-owned. He will make sure that you get it taken care of. I've done it, and like I said, it has been nothing but smooth over there. Do yourself a favor, go over to appleleasing.com today and get yourself a quote. appleleasing.com.
All right, welcome back to Ball Don't Lie. Time for Rod's rant of the day. And I wanted to get into a story that's kind of gone under the radar about Patrick Mahomes. I saw it on Pro Football Talk. I saw it in around the NFL, at NFL.com too. And it said basically that Patrick Mahomes, when he signed his current 12-year contract 3 years ago, that he basically, the bar was set average per year by him roughly $45 million. He was making more, I think more $10 million more than the next quarterback, the second highest paid quarterback annually. Now with Lamar Jackson at $52 million per year, Mahomes has fallen $7 million a year behind the highest paid player in the sport. And Chiefs GM Brett Veach, who is one of the best GMs in the NFL, has already vowed. It didn't take him long. He's already vowed to address the Mahomes deal after more quarterback contracts are completed. So he wants other quarterbacks to set the market. Because he's like, I got the best quarterback in the league. So please go out there, get paid more. Joe Burrow, please go break the bank, do what you got to do, and then it will just make my job easier in terms of negotiating with my client. I mean, sorry, not client.
Makes sense.
My player, which is Patrick Mahomes, and his agent, and then his client. It'll make it easier because he's going to be paid the highest. He wants to be the highest paid quarterback in the league annually. And honestly, if you're the Chiefs, yeah, I mean, you should just give him exactly what he wants. Now, if you have right now Lamar Jackson at $52 million, everybody's saying the number, hell, Joe Burrow's probably going to get 55. Justin Herbert's going to get around 55, somewhere around there, whatever the market bears. And Mahomes might be getting close to 60. I mean, I know it sounds crazy just throwing these numbers out there, but I mean, if you got a quarterback already right now making $52 million per year, 55 is not that far off, and then a 60 is about 3 or 4 contracts down the line. And I believe Mahomes is going to be about 3 or 4 contracts down the line. And
as long as he can stay healthy.
Listen, Patrick Mahomes is worth it.
No doubt about
Actually,
it.
The rest of these quarterbacks who are signing, they are the quarterbacks who,
in question,
in Miami, are a bit of a risk, and they are the ones who may not live up to the contracts. The truth is, you are getting a bargain for Patrick Mahomes. That's how good Patrick Mahomes is and has been. I went over some numbers to show you just how, basically how worth it Patrick Mahomes is. Just to show you where the Kansas City Chiefs are in their dynastic run, because I don't know if it's truly a dynasty yet. You want to win back-to-backs. Last team to win back-to-backs was what? The Patriots in 03-04? It's been a long, I believe we're the longest stretch ever in NFL history where a team has not won back-to-back Super Bowls.
Right.
Longest stretch in NFL history where we've gone without a back-to-back Super Bowl champion. I think it's going to end. I think it's going to end. I think the Chiefs are going to win another one potentially. Yeah, that could, the Eagles may have something to say about that. Hopefully the Cowboys or the 49ers or the Bengals or the Bills. But, man, right now what the Chiefs are doing is unbelievable. And, yes, they're going to end up. By the way, they signed Patrick Mahomes to that last deal, and he was the first quarterback to take up at least 17% of the salary cap and still win a Super Bowl.
And still win the Super Bowl.
They're shattering the myth about overpaying a quarterback and then winning Super Bowls because he's just that damn good. So how about this? In the entire Super Bowl era, only 4 teams have ever won 3 Super Bowls in a 5-year span. Steelers, 74-79 Steelers won 4 and 6. Cowboys, 92 Cowboys, 92-95 Cowboys. 01 to 05 New England Patriots, and then you throw in that the Patriots are also, because they're in there twice actually. So you're talking about the teams, but they came close to doing it, being a franchise that did it. The Chiefs are trying to be at least close to being in that same category. Now, they won 2 in 5 years. They were 64-18 since 2018, since Patrick Mahomes basically has become the starting quarterback. And only 2 teams have won more games in 5 years. New England, 03-07, and Indianapolis, 05-09. They won 65 and 66 games. Kansas City has won 64. They've been 11-3. That's regular season. They've been 11-3 in the playoffs with Mahomes. Only New England in 2014, 2018 won more playoff games in that time span. They're 11-3. The Patriots won 12. And if you look at total wins in 5-year span, playoffs and regular season, they got 75. And for Kansas City, and only one team has had more wins in recent history in the NFL in that time span, and that's the 03-07 New England Patriots.
Interesting.
They are, I'm telling you, man, they right now are trending toward being a juggernaut. I don't know if they're going to win back-to-backs. They should win back-to-backs. They should. I'm talking about Super Bowl era here stuff. And this is the reason that Patrick Mahomes is worth all the money. Like I said, I would just pay him whatever he wants. And he is worth it. No, he really is. He's worth that much because he's got I always say I want to classify my quarterbacks by their X-Men ability. What do they do as well, if not better, than every other quarterback? All right, what can you do that separates you from the rest of these QBs? There is no quarterback, arguably in the history of the NFL, better than playing from a deficit than Patrick Mahomes. It is uncanny what he can do. He's got a 58% win percentage in games where his team was losing by double digits at some point in the game.
Wow. That's crazy. That is crazy.
It is the highest in NFL history by far, and even close. And you go look, I even went and did deep diving on it and went and looked at in the playoffs teams. Great quarterbacks, all-time great quarterbacks, and I shared these numbers with you guys before, actually right after the Super Bowl, all-time great quarterbacks and their win percentage or win-loss record in playoff games where they were down by double digits at any point. And Patrick Mahomes, 4-2, which is freaky.
That 4-2.
Lamar Jackson, 1-3. Joe Burrow, 1-2. Josh Allen, 0-4. Drew Brees is 1-8. Aaron Rodgers 2-6. Tom Brady, the GOAT, 5-8. That's a damn good number. Joe Montana 2-6. Brett Favre 1-7. Peyton Manning 2-7. When you're down double digits in the playoffs against good teams, you're not supposed to be able to come back and win. It's just not. It's not supposed to happen. It's unfathomable.
Don't go down like that
in the NFL. It doesn't happen like that. And this dude is coming back down double digits in the playoffs he's got a winning record doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And I know this firsthand. I started keeping track of it because as a Texans fan, I had to deal with it firsthand when the Texans had a 24-point lead on Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs in the playoffs. And by halftime, the Texans were losing that game. They ended up losing 51-31, and they led by the way, I think it was a 4-point lead for the Kansas City Chiefs at halftime. After the Texans had a 24-point lead. And by the way, there have been 33 23-plus point comebacks in NFL history. And the only team that led at halftime after being down at least 23 points, Kansas City Chiefs. No other team has ever done it. Everybody else, you're not leading at halftime. You may come back and win the damn game in the fourth quarter, but you're not leading at halftime. That's how explosive and prolific and the Category 5 supernova type skill set that Patrick Mahomes has. He's an X-Man. He really is, man. He's an alien. He's a mutant in that capacity, and that's why I would pay him all the money he wants. They don't even need a big-time receiver. They traded arguably a top 3 receiver in the NFL, and the numbers got better.
Yeah.
For both of them, by the way. So I'm nothing against him, too. Maybe they're both just really great players. But the numbers for the Chiefs didn't fall off at all. They just stopped throwing the ball deep.
Right. They made him a better quarterback because he was using it. Yeah, he wasn't trying to force it in, waiting in the pocket for a long time, and then just heaving it up. He actually ran it. I mean, he actually ran an offense to where he kept being more efficient as a quarterback, too. Yeah.
No, man, he's different. And how about this?
But if he needed to come from behind, as you said, he can do it.
To give Brett Veach some credit, prior to this past draft, 28 players selected by the Chiefs in the past 4 years, 25 of them played for the Chiefs in 2022. Only 11 of the 53 players on the roster from their first Super Bowl were still on the roster for this past Super Bowl. And of the 22 men who started when the Chiefs won the Super Bowl 3 years ago, only 5, Mahomes, Kelsey, Chris Jones, Frank Clark, and Derek Nadi were suited up for this previous Super Bowl that they just won. He's rebuilding on the fly.
Yeah.
They drafted 10 rookies last year and started 6 of them.
Interesting.
They started 6 rookies.
Right.
They were the 4 rookie Super Bowl starters for the Chiefs combined for 61 starts this season, the most since 1991 for a Super Bowl winner. You haven't had a Super Bowl winner start that many rookies or have that many rookies start since 1991. They're rebuilding on the fly. They rebuilt the O-line on the fly, rebuilt the secondary on the fly. They'll do the wide receiving core pretty soon.
Great coaching.
And then you realize, like, holy hell, did they rebuild? How did they do that? No, they've been retooling the whole time.
Yeah.
Amazing. All right, that's why he deserves the money. Just pay the man. He already knows he's going to pay him whatever he wants, and I agree with that. Yeah. All right, we come back. We'll get into another Off the Record right here on Ball Don't Lie 104.9.
Mike Hart here, and I want to talk to you about my friends over at Pest Wranglers. Go to pestwranglers.com, and that is where you can do everything that you need for your pest control needs. Pest Wrangler is locally owned, and it's a small family business that's been around since 2006. Its basic principle of great customer service leads to happy customers. The company was started and wanted to make sure that people had good things to say about this company, because nobody wants to work with anybody that's going to make life tough for their employees or their customers. It's the proper thing to do, and Pest Wranglers is the place to be. If I'm working with them, you should too. Pest Wranglers service most of the Central Texas area, and if you are needing help with mosquitoes, because the weather is changing a lot, termites, rodent control, or even some inspections for residential or commercial properties, please give Pest Wranglers a call at 512-670-7808, or you can go to the website at pestwranglers.com. The best thing about Pest Wranglers is they won't make you sign any contracts, because they believe in keeping customers happy is the best way to keep customers. They get 5-star ratings on Google, Yelp, Angie's List, and all referral sites. Make sure you go to pestwranglers.com. My pest of the week, it's actually a good pest. His name is Dylan Campbell. He just extended his hitting streak for the University of Texas at an all-time record there at the University of Texas to 28 games. Think about that, 28 straight games. My man has gotten a hit. That's impressive, and he became a pest of the Big 12 Conference. Go to pestwranglers.com.
Welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. It is a midweek movie music edition of Ball Don't Lie. That's when Patrick takes songs from a soundtrack, plays those jams for us, and based on the selections that are played, Harj and I are supposed to gather clues and hints that lead us to the featured film of midweek movie music. And today it was Guardians of the Galaxy Part 1. Last week was the sequel, Part 2. And obviously a lot of talk about Guardians of the Galaxy Part 3, which Harj saw and Chad Hastings saw. You saw it with the fam. Chad gave me a good review. What's your Blockbuster review about this thing?
I dug it.
You liked it?
You know, most of these movies that I go to, I normally take a little siesta during them.
Wow.
Yeah,
Are you one of those people?
Oh, man. They got
who go to the movies to sleep?
Oh, man.
Pay all that money
I
to
don't
go sleep?
I eat too. So, I mean, there's a lot going on there. But, yeah, man, it's very comfortable in there. And they got the AC at the right temperature, so it's always good for me in there. But I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed watching that because I'm a big fan of Guardians of the Galaxy, and the way that they've gone about everything has been really, really cool. There's different storylines, and where they're going to save the galaxy is pretty doggone cool. So I give it a thumbs up.
All right,
I'll give it a thumbs up.
I think I want to go see it too. I'm a big fan of Guardians of the Galaxy. Speaking of, Harsh talked about the right temperature. We posed a question earlier because the don't blame this on us, because I got it from the EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency, and the U.S. Department of Energy. They said that people should set their thermostat 78 degrees when they are home and need cooling in effort to save energy. 82 degrees when you are sleeping. Yep, 82 degrees. That's what they said. And 85 degrees when you're away. So I asked for your sleeping, resting, and away thermostat numbers. Here are some on the Specs text line, 512-337-3776. Hookup 96 says 78, 82 degrees. I'm trying to live, not smoke brisket in my house, okay? So that's how he feels about it. ATX Jacks fan, if it's 82 degrees, I'm sweating my arse off in bed, and that means I ain't sleeping. I agree. I can't sleep in bed.
I can't sleep.
If I'm sweating in bed, I will never sleep. I cannot sweat in
Can't
bed.
do it.
That's why I got to be at below 70 degrees when I go to sleep. Texture says, only time my house is set on 77 degrees is when I'm on vacation for a week. I'm at 75 during the day. I bet if I go home right now, it's at 75. That's our daytime temperature.
Yeah.
And we got a house that stays relatively cool. It's not a big house. You got a big house, you got a different issue. You got first world problems. Good for you. You got a nice big house, but you also got to cool and heat your nice big house. That's the way it goes. Another texter says, my house stays at 64 degrees all summer.
Oh, my goodness.
Woo!
Oh, my
64.
goodness.
Damn, you got some
You better,
icy.
I'm hoping you got a small house.
Yeah,
Because
man,
that
you
is
got-
expensive in a big, but a small house?
even 64 degrees. It's
That's
small or
frozen
big.
tundra
I
of
was gonna
Lambeau
say,
Field.
You got a You
No,
got
you
a,
like blankets.
Yeah, you got a
Maybe.
lot of blankets on. That's right.
It just sounds icy to me, man.
Yeah,
That's
it's a little.
it's
That's
like
cold
so
now.
icy.
Yeah, I'm not the good kind of icy to me.
Yeah.
But yeah, good for you. See, everybody's a little different here. Putz says the EPA can tell me where to set my thermostat when they start paying my electric bill. I knew we'd get some of those, and
Yeah,
you are
yeah.
correct. I agree with you. L, lots of hatred for the EPA. Them fools at the EPA ain't settling their houses. I get it. I understand. Temperatures goes down when you sleep, not up. Yeah. I mean, I think everybody agrees with that.
Yep.
Man, lots of hatred for the EPA. I shouldn't have even mentioned the EPA and everything.
Well, you had to dress it up. You had to let people know where you got the
it came
information.
from. It wasn't
That's
me.
right.
I'm not
That's
coming up
right.
with this stuff. Sleeping temperature 75 midsummer, daytime temperature 80. Whew, good for you.
Yeah.
You saving energy for the rest of us. Sleeping 70, resting 72, away 76 to 78. Text at 71 all day and night, year round. Fan gets turned on when sleeping. I just need other people to save energy to support my cooling habits. I agree. I have to sleep with a fan on just for the noise, more so than the actual cool off of cooling.
I need airflow. I'm in a room. There's no airflow. It's weird. It gets stagnant
Yeah.
when it's just
I don't
there's
like-
nothing. So I need airflow because the AC is not running nonstop
That is true.
in my
I know.
room. So when the AC shuts off, then it's just stagnant air, and I don't like that.
That's a good point.
So
But
that's why I like the fan to be on.
I don't like the stagnant air or
Fan is always on for me to go to sleep too.
yeah, because I don't like the silence.
Yeah.
I don't like silence when I sleep.
Yeah,
Is that
my-
weird?
You gotta
Well,
have
is
that
it
little
too quiet?
buzz
I
or
need
some
some background noise going on.
You need a little, you need a little white noise.
Otherwise, I can't fall asleep, and I'm listening to everything. If it's too quiet, I can't. I'm just listening to everything.
Yeah.
And I need some noise so that I can kind of pass out.
You can put on one of
Let
them.
it overwhelm
You can
me.
put on one of them white noise machines.
I probably could do that.
You can
yeah.
put on. It's like at the ocean
Yeah,
or
yeah.
rain or one of them.
That's fair. Maybe somebody should. Maybe I can talk to wifey about a noise machine. I gotta. I can't just buy one on my own because then she would have to deal with the
Just-
noise
yeah,
machine
yeah,
too.
She just
yeah.
wakes up. She's like, "Is it raining?" You're like, "Nah, it's my machine."
That's my machine to make me go to sleep.
And wifey sleeps light. Like I'm not a light sleeper,
Oh,
but
yeah.
she is. She's a light sleeper. She wakes up for any damn thing. Someone that's 71 all day and night, year round. Fan gets turned up when sleeping. So I read that one. AGW away 75, home 71, sleep 68. When wife away 65. Man, I guess you go ham when the wife is away. I guess because
you're gonna be
wifey.
frozen. Ham.
Yeah.
That's what he got.
There's always somebody in the house that's really strict about the thermostat. There's somebody stricter than others. It was my dad when I was growing up. In our house, it's probably, I think it's me. Damn it.
Yeah.
Now that I think about it, I was like, oh, it might be me. There you go. So some of the text about the EPA's their actual recommendations for your summertime temperatures for your thermostat. I agree. Mine is 75 all the time, 68 when I go to bed, and when I'm away, 77 to 79 if I'm like leaving the house and not coming back for a few days. But if the dogs are in there, I got dogs, always got to leave it at 75 for the dogs.
Yep.
Dogs can't be too hot.
They can't
in the
be
house.
because they'll get you in trouble, dog. If you got your dog in there freezing, over there too hot.
Yeah, I can't get my dogs too
Yeah,
hot.
people are
so.
gonna be
Hey,
looking for
no
it.
one, no one likes the dog when he starts breathing.
Oh, yeah.
When you get that, and you're like, "Oh
Panting.
man, really? We doing this?"
That's your dog telling you, turn the AC down. All right? I
Yep.
need some more AC up in this joint.
I'm gonna train Lou to go over and turn it down for me.
Lou's smart enough. He can handle that. All right. We'll come back. We'll get into Sark sound. Sark audio, courtesy of my man Jeff Hive Horns 24/7, and audio from Coach Rodney Terry as well from their Texas Fight Tour. All of that and more right here on Ball Online. Wonderful None Horn. Welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. It is a midweek movie music edition of Ball Don't Lie. That's when Patrick takes songs from a soundtrack that inspired him, and based on those selections, Harge and I are supposed to gather clues and hints that lead us to the featured film of midweek movie music. Man, this is the jam. We've been playing a lot of Jackson 5 lately. I swear we played Jackson 5 like the last 3 weeks randomly for either Top of the Charts Tuesday, midweek movie music, or theme.
Yeah,
It's
I mean,
come up
they come up a
anything
lot.
Thursday.
They got some good music.
Man,
that
they got
Michael Jackson guy,
That
pretty
Michael
talented.
What about those other Jacksons, man?
Yeah, name them all again.
All right, let's go. Try to name all the Jacksons here in the Jackson 5.
In the Jackson 5,
In the original Jackson 5, was there Marlon?
there is a Marlon Jackson. There's a Jermaine. Randy,
Oh, Randy. Don't forget about Tito.
Tito,
There's a Tito.
and Michael.
Boom! Take that, Patrick. We got them Jacksons. Yeah.
We come strong in this game, player.
I could have done it without Harge. He got half the Jacksons. So couldn't have got it.
We even on this thing, man.
Yeah, there you go. All right, so the Specs text line wide open for you, 512.
Actually,
did I
let's
miss one?
see.
Did I miss a Jackson?
Randy was not in the original.
Oh, who was the original? Which Jackson we missed?
Jackie.
Jackie was in the
Oh,
original.
Jackie,
Yeah.
come on.
Yeah.
What happened to Jackie? Why did Jackie age out?
I don't know.
I think he was the oldest.
He was the older. I
Jackson.
think because I remember in the movie. I think that was the thing in the movie is like they said Dad was like, no, this is a kind of a boy band, and you don't look like a boy.
You look grown, man.
You look too grown
Yeah.
out there, man. Like, get up out here. So I think Jackie got kicked out.
Yeah.
Oh, Jackie probably got some feelings about that.
Jackie probably. Well, he didn't want to get beat either.
That is not funny. That is not funny. I want to say
Jackie was
I
like,
laughed, but that was not funny. You're
okay,
right.
you right.
Joe-
I'm up out of here.
Yeah,
Joe didn't play.
Joe did not have the best means of trying to bring out the best in his kids.
Yeah.
He did not. Yes, they were not very kind with the way that he
No.
tried to. Yes,
He ruled.
with an iron fist.
There it is.
Yeah, you got to find a better way to bring out the best in the young folks. All right, Spec Sex on 512-337-3776. You also can hit us up via Twitter. The All-NBA team is out. We'll get to that next segment. We're going to talk some Cowboys. We can bump the Cowboys conversation to later on in the week, and we'll talk All-NBA team coming up next segment. The Twitterverse, Hardball Harge, is at Hardball Harge in the Twitterverse. Patrick Davis at It's Patrick Davis, and I'm at Rod Babers in the Twitterverse. All right, let's get back to the Sark audio. Thanks, my man Jeff Howe over at Horns 24/7. He was at the Texas Fight Tour San Antonio destination. I believe today they're in Dallas, if I'm not mistaken. They're making the rounds to all the stops in the state of Texas, talking to all the different fan groups, the Longhorn groups there. And my man Jeff Howe of Horns 24/7 did a great job. He got us some sound of Sark in San Antonio. The last bit we played was about Sark talking about the offense and how Quinn Ewers is really the key, right? He's the straw that stirs the drink, and that the offense, if they have enough balance in the offense, that really they can be explosive. And really there's no limit on what this offense can do if Quinn Ewers is comfortable and is operating at a really high level. This next cut is also about Quinn Ewers, cut 6 here. And this is about Quinn Ewers' development and improvement from year 1 to year 2. Here's Steve Sarkisian.
Well, I think the biggest thing is confidence in the system and in themselves, right? Year 1 in our system is there's a lot of moving parts, and I think they can look really, really good in year 1 at times, especially when the primary reads are there and we call it right and we get that ideal coverage and the first or second guy in the progression is there to make those plays. The challenge is when those aren't there and it's not the coverage that we want, and now you're getting into your 3rd, 4th, 5th in your progression. You have to start using your legs. You have to start changing the play. You have to start changing protections. And I think in year 2, there's just such more of a comfort level in getting to those secondary type reads, getting to different plays, making those plays under duress because you can anticipate where people are going to be. And I think that's where Quinn's at. I was talking about that earlier today, that I just feel like there's a real sense of confidence. I was joking with him during spring ball after one of the scrimmages. I said, how different was this year compared to last? And he kind of laughed. He goes, man, last year I felt like I was just surviving in spring ball. It was practice number 7 or whatever it was in a new system. Now he's had all of last year and winter conditioning, and now I just think there's a sense of comfort And now it's more about having that rapport with the guys around him and knowing what the types of players that they are.
I really enjoyed that piece of sound, and I think Sark he's been pretty forthcoming, seems pretty honest and with the media. And if he is being genuine there, I think that's a huge step for Quinn Ewers and for Sark. And here's why I say that, and I'll try to break it down here. I think Sark is extremely uncomfortable when he's got to operate, or when even his quarterbacks have to operate off script or off schedule. He best in the country at preparation and game planning. You could argue top 5 in the country at preparation and game planning. Where he struggles, the adjustments and the counters, the chess match within the game. He's great on script, but when he's got a freestyle and he's got an improv, Sark's not at his best. He's uncomfortable there,
right,
having to basically do it on the fly. All right, having to improvise on the fly, having to freestyle, if you will, make those adjustments at halftime and throw the script out. He works really hard on the script, and he's really good at it, so I understand why he's so comfortable within that script. There are some coordinators who are known for throwing out the script early. Like,
right,
oh, man, I had it wrong. You know what, the hell with this script. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. You know what we're going to do with this script? Carl Boris, we had a game plan. What game was it? It was a Big 12 game. Honestly, man, it might have been like Oklahoma State. It was a game plan. He had a game plan ready to go. We had practiced it all week long. He was pretty confident, steadfast in the game plan. After the first series, came off of the field, and I believe they went down and scored early on. That may not be the first series, but it was one of the early series in the game. Carl Boris comes to the side, tells us, you know what, to hell with the game plan. Scrap it. All right, this is what we're going to do. Doom, make the adjustments. Let's go. We won the game. All right, there are some coaches that are comfortable throwing out the game plan and operating off script.
Yep.
And I think for Sark, he doesn't even want his quarterbacks operating that way, which is why, remember, I told you guys initially when Sark came in, I said Casey Thompson's going to win the job. Why? Because Casey Thompson was better operating off script. He was better operating in second reaction plays. When the play breaks down, he was more instinctual than Hudson Card, and he could operate off script. He could improvise off schedule better. And Hudson Card was better operating within a rhythm and within the structure of the offense. And he was trying to do that a ton, which is why Casey Thompson, every time the pocket would collapse, he'd run and scramble and go pick up positive yards. Yep. And Hudson Card would not. We're talking about 2021, not 2022. He would not. He would look indecisive and confused, discombobulated, and he'd end up getting sacked or making a bad play or a bad decision. And Casey Thompson was much more decisive because Casey Thompson was a more instinctual player. He was better at second reaction plays and off script. And mostly because he was learning from Sam Ehlinger, who scrambled more than any other quarterback in college football in the 4-5 years that he was at Texas. Nobody scrambled more. Casey Thompson learned from that guy. Pocket breaks down, get the hell out of Dodge. All right. And Sark was telling his quarterbacks, just based on my film watching, when you need to scramble to throw, not scramble to run. Mm-hmm. And even Sark today, he mocks running quarterbacks. Still says, it's something that we're not going to major in that. We might minor in it. That's not really something we do. He doesn't really like running quarterbacks. Not something he does. He doesn't even want them scrambling all that much. But when the play breaks down, you got to operate off script. I don't think he's really comfortable in that. And I think now he's starting to realize half of football is off schedule. At damn near all of it. Remember, at Alabama, everything was on schedule. Mac Jones, in that Alabama year, Mac Jones, they win a national title, he went to his second read less than 15% of the time. Everything was on schedule. Everything was operating. And it's on script. That's exactly the way Sark wanted it. But at Texas, you don't have that Alabama talent, all right? Different situation, different circumstance. But here at Texas, even though you do have a ton of talent now, there's still going to be lots of opportunities for your quarterback to go make a play off schedule. And I think for Sark, he's got to get comfortable with the idea of him being at his best off of the script, freestyle and improvising, and also for his quarterback to be able to operate and be comfortable with your quarterback operating off script, improvising off schedule. Because Texas never wins a national title in 2005 if VY don't operate off schedule.
For sure.
Like, that's half of football, man. Go look at Joe Burrow. Look at Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs. Half of football is just off schedule. They have a great defense called. The defensive lineman made a play, beat a blocker, and I need your quarterback to go out there and make a play. I need to go out there and erase some mistakes. And great quarterbacks can do that. Mm-hmm. And if Quinn Ewers is a great quarterback, he will do that. So that's what I like about that cut. I know it's a little deep, but that's what I like about it.
No, that's perfect. I mean, that's a great way to describe it, especially when you start looking at what you said about VY and how quarterbacks have to be able to handle off-script plays, whether it's running. How many times have I said it? I've said he should run more. He should get out of that pocket, quit trying to look for that, extend the play, and live for another play.
Mm-hmm.
Go get some positive yardage and change the way everybody looks at this and start making some plays by being just an athlete.
Yep.
Sometimes an athlete just needs to take over the game, and you're going to have plenty of opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know exactly what's going to happen now that Bijan and Rojo aren't there, and this offensive line is still trying to get one more year better underneath their belt. But what you can do is make plays with your feet. I've been saying it since day one.
Yeah, no, you have been. I remember you said. And by the way, Hudson Card followed your advice this past year.
He sure did.
So it's still the Hudson Card in 2021 that looked indecisive and didn't have that dog in him.
Right.
You saw the quarterback this year look really decisive. The pocket breaks down. Hudson Card would run. And he gashed Alabama a couple of times on one damn leg.
Hopping through the force.
Exactly. He gashed, he gashed a couple of teams. Maybe Tech
Yep,
a couple
Tech
of times
did,
with
yep.
that as well. And, yeah, because Hudson Card's an athlete.
Yep.
You know what I mean? He's a
That's
guy
what you're
that
supposed
Bucky
to
said
do,
could
man.
play wide receiver at the next level
Yes,
if
he
he
could.
really wanted to.
Yep.
And I think he started to realize, yeah, man, you know what? When the play breaks down, I don't always have to sit here and scramble to throw. I can just run and go pick up those easy yards.
Mm-hmm. And that's an important part of it, too.
Yeah, now you're an extra threat. Now I got to keep another spy in.
Tom Herman used to do it all the time.
Yeah.
He used to always say, I would outnumber you because my guys can run.
Yeah, so I'm glad that he's at least now even acknowledging that Quinn Ewers, sometimes you got to go make a play.
Have to.
I mean,
It's important.
My man Shannon's always say, be coachable, don't be a robot. And what he means by be coachable, don't be a robot is I can go out there, I can give you the technique, I can give you the fundamentals, I can give you the play, and I can tell you where you need to be on this play, your responsibilities, obligations, alignment, assignment, all that kind of stuff. But I can't go out there and play.
Exactly.
You're on the field. On the field,
You see
once the
everything.
ball is snapped, you see everything. Maybe I projected wrong what the route combination would be.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Maybe we called a coverage that was not ideal. Maybe the pass protection was not great. I need you to go make a play.
Yep.
So I mean, yes, the coach can only do so much. Then you got to go out there and make a play. Don't be a robot. And I think that times last year, and I think we saw that with Hudson Card in his first year under Sark in 2021, trying to be a robot, trying to do everything the coach told you down to a T. I don't know. That's the reason he's coaching and you playing.
And you're playing. That's right.
There's
Once the
certain
play
things-
comes in, I called it. It wasn't there. I made the adjustment.
Yeah, there's certain things that you can do out there that I cannot, as a coach, account for or quantify. Go out there and be a ball player.
No.
All right, so that's some Sark sound. Shout out to my man Jeff Howe over at Horns 24/7. Yeah, Texter said, Ewers' footwork is terrible. I'm ready from Lee Murphy. Yeah, footwork has improved, is what I've heard
Absolutely.
from Quinn Ewers. Tremendous. I think
And
that
we
was
saw
one-
it. We
yeah.
saw it in the spring game.
That was one of the big issues in the offseason for him to fix. And one of the things you can only fix in the offseason when you have a lot of time on your hands and you're not game plan focused. All right, let's change our focus a little bit to Rodney Terry because he also making the rounds, the Texas Fight Tour. And thanks, my man Jeff Howe. We have some audio from Coach Terry. First piece of audio, he's talking about some of the new additions for the Longhorns. Is it Max Amos?
Yes,
Asmus.
Asmus.
I know
Yep.
it was. I know it's not like it's spelled. I know it's not.
It's not like it's
spelled.
spelled,
It doesn't sound
Asmus.
like
It's not
spelled.
even close
It's not
to
even
how it's
close. But I know it's made. We got to get used to it though because we're going to be
Right.
saying his name a ton. And he talked about him and Caden Shedrick, some of the other guys that are coming in. Here is Coach Rodney Terry.
They were really at the top of the list in terms of portal guys for us. You know, Max is just one of those kids that he's a winner. I mean, he's won everywhere he's been, and he was, been to the Sweet 16. He's going to be a guy that comes in and he's going to be an incredible ambassador off the court and be a great player on the court. He can really shoot the basketball, can make decisions with the basketball. You talk about Caden. Caden's a guy that's also coming from a winning background and having a chance to play for Coach Bennett over at Virginia. But a guy that's going to give us elite rim protection, super athletic, can run the floor. I think has more of an offensive game than he's shown to this point right now as well. But you talk about two talented players, but two really good kids as well.
Yes, Coach Terry talking about the new additions to the roster. And speaking of the roster, he was also asked about the roster turnover because it seems like in college basketball, that is just the new age that we're in. Tons of turnover for every team in Texas. There's no exception to that. Here is Coach Terry talking about how the roster turnovers is something you got to adapt to.
Well, we had a couple of core guys back, though. When you talk about the Sioux, was probably playing as good a basketball as anybody in the country in the latter part of the season. Having Sioux come back and Brock Cunningham come back, played really well for us, 2 down the stretch as well, and was really one of our main captains on the team. You talk about 2 anchors right there just in themselves. You got Tyrese is in the draft right now, and he's kind of going through that process. Dylan Mitchell likewise, but you had a core of guys that have a chance to come back, and we'll kind of see how that plays out a little bit. But we also went in with some needs we need to fill a little bit, and we feel like we're on our way with that moving forward.
All right, there he goes talking about the, really brought up Tyrese Hunter, and I saw the NBA Combine invites are out. And Dylan Mitchell, I believe, is on that list.
Yes, he's on the list.
Did not see Tyrese Hunter on the list.
He is not on the list.
So he won't be part of that, NBA process. So I wonder if, and I guess you can still just wait out for the draft. Do you think, Patrick, that means anything, that he's not on the Combine invite list for Tyrese Hunter?
It does. Okay. I mean, it's usually, again, we thought this was a way for him to meet with teams, kind of get ideas of what he needs to work on, what part of games are they looking at for him. That's what I thought more of this was a good chance to talk to teams. He can still do personal workouts for anybody that wants to bring him in. He can kind of do workouts where they bring in 5 or 6 guys and have them play drills. But, yeah, the Combine invite is a big one because it means you're not going in with all the other guys in that class who are for sure going to, for most likely going to be drafted.
Yeah, those are your marquee guys. Yeah, it is 78. Is it 78 total, I believe?
It's a lot.
It's a lot of guys. Yeah, exactly. That's a lot of guys. So I wanted
for not a lot of spots either. There's not a lot of spots for you to get drafted in either.
Agreed.
There is also the G League now.
Oh,
so there is more
and
guys
overseas
that are,
and all that.
But like for G League now, there's more teams that'll go, hey, we're not going to take you. We can't put you on the roster yet, but if you come here, then we can put you on a 2-way contract, and if you work hard. So there is more of a feeder system to it now, so they are looking at more guys than they used to just because they can put you in a feeder system that they didn't used to have.
It's a good point. And Coach Terry was also being asked about guys who have transfer portal, give it then and take it away.
Mm-hmm.
So you've been on both ends of it for Texas. Here is him talking about the transfer portal and how Texas has had to deal with both sides of that.
This day and time, the landscape of college athletics, I mean, and in our sport in particular, it's really changed a great deal. In years past, when you made a commitment, you didn't have to worry about a kid making a decision to say, hey, I'm not coming, and everything. But that's all changed. I mean, you got guys can come and go at any time, and that's just kind of the landscape of college athletics, and you've got to be able to adapt and adjust to that, and you have to recruit guys until they get to campus.
How are you?
He's right about that. I love how he laughs.
I like that laugh at the end. He's like, hey, you already know what it's about, man. This been rough on you, boy.
It is, man. It's a whole new landscape. But I think, Coach Terry is ready to deal with it. Honestly, he seems like he's embraced the kind of chaos of the new age of the transfer portal to NIL. And there's no doubt about it here at Texas. He's got to succeed, he's got to exceed those expectations in those two areas, NIL and the transfer portal. Here's him talking about staff changes, though, because something else he's had to deal with because of the Chris Beard situation, him being an interim coach and then now being the official head coach. There have been some staff changes, some things that have moved around. Here's Coach Terry talking about these staff changes that they've had to deal with.
Yeah, we've still got a lot of experience, man. We got 3 guys on our staff that have been head coaches. Steve McClain, Steve's Sweet 16 coach at Wyoming. Frank Hayes, has had success in the tournament as a head coach as well. Chris Ogden, head coach. Brandon Chappelle is coming in as coming back with us. He's been with us for a year already, and those were the guys that we have right now in the trenches right now, and a good group of coaches that have a wealth of experience.
And one thing we didn't get into, and we won't play the cut because we're up against it. I want to get to the All-NBA team on the other side. He did say that after the draft, they're expecting another wave of transfer portal guys who submitted their name but didn't hire an agent, so they have the ability to come back. And if they are displeased with their valuation overall or their status at that point, they may decide to come back to school. So he did hint in that sound that Jeff Hawkins does that there's another wave of talent coming for the transfer portal in college basketball.
Yeah.
After the draft.
Yeah. And I mean, and it's going to be a lot of those people too. It's going to be NIL money.
Yes. Their point.
I mean, as we just saw Hunter Dickinson come out for the backlash he got from Michigan fans who were upset that he would leave and go to Kansas, and people are upset about that. And his response,
yeah, go ahead.
His response was basically, any one of you would leave your job right now if you got a $10,000 raise. I wasn't making that much money at Michigan, and I will be here.
He said basically the people hating on me would leave their job right now for a $10,000 increase. I got less than six figures at Michigan for the year. So he said that's his decision.
It's a business.
So he's hinting that, yeah, man. Basically, he got six figures at his next spot.
Yeah. And I tell you, Hunter Dickinson, those 7-footers that aren't the most athletic, college is where you need to make your money. Because once you get to the pros, if you're not a stretch 5 that can really run the court, a lot of times there's not a spot for you on a roster.
I agree with you on that. I think that's the case for a lot of, not just for the sports and niche players, if you will, in certain sports, but like even sports that are not necessarily revenue producing sports. Like women's sports has cashed in on NIL.
Yes.
It is, because to your point, exactly what you said. It was like, no, I'm not going to be able to go to the next level and really make money in the WNBA or even professionally playing volleyball or whatever it may be.
Right.
But NIL money, I can cash in, and they are killing it. Straight cash on me.
Like look at like Luka Garza a couple years ago for Iowa, was a 7-footer who hasn't really found a place in the league yet.
Yeah.
But was one of the best players in college basketball. Zach Edey right now is a guy that no one knows if he's going to be able to succeed at the next level, but he's one of the best players in college basketball.
Yeah.
Like they're like, yeah, you know what would be great? To make $500,000 in college so that I have a start that if I do want to try in the NBA and I'm playing G League and buses, I have some money.
I mean, I haven't done the research, but I was off the top of my head, I bet the highest paid women's basketball player in college, not paid, I guess to say, NIL revenue receiving athlete in women's basketball in college is probably making as much as the WNBA superstars.
More.
No, I
right?
don't know. Well, because there is name it like Sue Bird right now is on every commercial right now, and I know she's been around forever, but
she's retired.
She's retired, but there are some people that are getting name, image, and likeness in the pros, so their salary is not very much. So the NIL is more than they're making
money.
Yes, they can also make endorsement money as well.
Yes, I know what I'm saying, but still, like that's just to let you know, I totally like softball. If you're a softball player, you're definitely making more in NIL than you would as a professional softball player.
Yeah. Don't tell Brandon that.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not. I'm not trying to be disrespectful either.
No,
like that's what the NIL kind of the windfall of cash has been. All right, we come back. We'll get into the All NBA teams on the other side. Couple surprises here. Couple of disappointments. We'll talk about it all right here on Ball Don't Lie. 104.9 The Horn. Hey, what's up, folks? Lifetime Longhorn Rod Babies here. Let me tell you about our good friends over at Ironworkers Local 482 because they've been helping shape this great city, Austin, since 1935. That's right. You see the labors of their love all over this great city and iconic landmarks like DKR Stadium and the Pennybacker Bridge. And as the city continues to grow and thrive, so do our friends over at Ironworkers Local 482. They don't go to the office, they build it. So how about this? If you're looking for an exciting new career, you're frustrated with your career path and your work choices, maybe you want something new, something fresh, something that will will challenge you. How about becoming a member of Ironworkers Local 482? You can accept the challenge of becoming the best version of yourself while helping shape Austin's economic development. Right now, Ironworkers Local 482 are hiring 3,000 people. That's right, 3,000 people for a huge project right here in Central Texas. And you can become a member of Ironworkers Local 482 and take pride in the type of teamwork and craftsmanship that helps shape the future of our great city. So maximize your potential and be your best self by applying at ironworkers482.org. That's ironworkers482.org. Welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. Midweek movie music edition of Ball Don't Lie. That's when we play jams that reach the jams from a soundtrack of a movie. I don't know why I always get confused like
They
that.
reached the silver screen in movie form.
Songs that came from a soundtrack inspired from, for whatever reason, my man Patrick to play those selections for us. And based on the songs that are played, Harj and I are supposed to gather clues and hints that lead us to the featured film of midweek movie music. And today it is Guardians of the Galaxy Part 1. We actually had Part 2 as the feature for midweek movie music last week. So a lot of celebration about the Guardians of the Galaxy. And I will tell you, soundtrack Part 1, or at least the soundtrack for Part 1, is better than the soundtrack for Part 2.
It's already, I mean, every song that's been played has been a banger.
It's better.
So.
Yeah.
It's better.
And then when we heard reports is that 3's not as good either, so it's just going downhill.
Yeah, well, because they probably had so many like classic, iconic hits in Part 1. It's like hard to pass that up. You know,
It might
how you gonna
also-
outdo it?
Yeah, it may also be
gonna surpass
money-wise that you're like, hey, can we get your movie? Can we get your song in there? And they're like,
that's a great
oh,
point.
y'all got Marvel money?
Yeah,
Like, one, they're like, okay, yeah, you're doing this movie. It's not, but now they know everybody in the movie's famous now,
that is true.
more famous than they were.
Yeah, and the franchise is now lucrative and
you
is
go
very popular.
with
I
that
think
money.
you're right about that. Yes, want that straight cash, homie. It always is. All right, gentlemen, let's get to the All NBA team, which was released earlier today, and a couple of surprises on the All NBA team. And the first team for the All NBA team is Giannis, Luka. I'm saying Giannis and Luka. Giannis Antetokounmpo, Luka Doncic, Joel Embiid, your MVP, Jason Tatum, and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
Yeah, I like that.
How about that? He's from OKC, because people didn't know who Shai Gilgeous was, but
Yeah.
he's
His name, SGA is what they normally call him.
They call him SGA. All right.
SGA.
But he is, oh, you know what? Yeah, I guess once you become really like ballerific in the NBA, you almost have a one name or a nickname or like initials. Like
And
you're just
plus,
KD.
it is very hard.
KD or Kobe or Shaq. Like nobody calls you by your
Yeah.
entire name. You're just Bron or LeBron or Steph. Like they
Yeah.
just shorten your name because you're so great. We talk about you too much. We can't afford to say your name all the damn time.
Or straight close.
He's AD though when he's
I know,
playing
he's
well.
AD.
So
Or
I
the
think you're right.
brow.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
The brow. So you're right. SGA, I guess, is what they call him now. His initials,
SGA,
because
yes.
he's so damn good. All right, gentlemen, what are your thoughts? That's the first team. Second team, you have Jaylen Brown, Jimmy Butler, Steph Curry, Jokic, and Donovan Mitchell are your second team. Third team, De'Aaron Fox, LeBron James, Damian Lillard, Julius Randle, and Domantas Sabonis.
Well, number one, let me go with this right here. LeBron James made it for the 19th time. He's an all-NBA player for the 19th time. Think about that.
It's not
That-
surprising, though. He's just been that good.
That dude has been good his entire career.
Yeah.
And this is his 20th season?
Yep.
So that just goes to show you how talented this young man is.
What season did he miss?
That's the question.
Was it the first season?
It
What-
could
what
have been because
season
I
was he
think he
not-
got Rookie of the Year
What
that
season
year,
was
too.
he not all NBA? Because now I'm curious.
Yeah,
Well, there are 3 teams, and I know there's no way he wasn't deserving to be on one of the 3 teams.
Exactly.
Every year he's been in the NBA.
That's
So-
like today. I was like, man, he made third team. But here, Patrick brought this up too. There's a clause in there on how many games you're supposed to play. And I
that might
believe
be part of it.
65.
load management era.
Yeah, 65.
Okay.
But, you look at all of these players that are on the list, and you can't really argue with hardly any of them. I mean, there's some names that people were like, well, he shouldn't be or he should be, but who you going to take off? We were talking about that at one point. Who you taking off these teams to put somebody else on the front? That's the Joker, right? So if you're looking
Joker's
at
probably the
Joker's the one guy that you would say, this dude finished second in the MVP voting, and he's on the second team.
That's crazy.
How does that even make sense? So,
doesn't make sense.
those are some of the things that you would look like. Who would you take off?
So LeBron 2004,
Tatum.
yes, 2004. So his rookie season
Was
was
it
the year
really?
he has made an All NBA team every year
then.
since 2005.
Yeah.
That is silly.
And then his rookie year, he took his team to the finals.
Yeah, and he was all rookie. He was rookie of the year and all
Hold
rookie
up.
first team, but he was not
Isn't-
All NBA.
Isn't this year the first year he didn't get an MVP vote?
Probably, I could
I
believe
believe this might be the first year
It
he
might
didn't
be.
get an MVP vote, too.
Yeah.
I think I read that somewhere randomly. Anyway, getting back to it, yeah, I'm with you. I think you got to find a way to put Joker on this thing.
And they will be next year. So in the new CBA, the players have changed have put in there that they're like, we want to get rid of the positions. Because the positions were basically for the fans, and so you could have a team, they go, whose team is better? And it looks like a lineup. It was more of a cosmetic thing for the look of the list.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
I'm with you.
But the players go, we have stuff in our contract about this. Like, I
Ding,
make
ding,
extra
ding,
money.
ding. Right.
And for Jokic to go, no, it's cool that, like, I'm going to lose money, even though I'm the second best player in the league. I will lose money.
Yeah, because that's the max salary. So is that part
Yeah.
of the
There's part of it
max
too.
salary?
There's part of that too,
connection?
but then you can have put in of bonuses and other things like that.
Incentives
And when you
stuff.
talk about your career down the line of what people, and for Jokic to go, yeah, I'm the second best player, yet somehow I'm number 6 because
You put me on
there's-
something. Yeah.
so SGA is now ahead of me, even though
Yeah.
SGA ain't getting close to that MVP ballot.
Right.
Yeah, I'm with you.
And
That seems
so
like a
that's why
travesty.
they're getting rid of it. I know there's some people that are very much set on it of, well, I like that, like, because they like the cosmetic part of it. But
Who cares?
when you put it into that sense, you go, I get it. You can still make your best lineups. If you went as a fan, make your best lineups. But as far as the all NBA teams, it should be the 5 best players.
Well, here you go,
I
talking
agree.
about
I
the
agree.
contract implications. Ja Morant did not make either one of the teams. So Ja Morant now did not make an all NBA team, and he forfeited the 5-year 194 to 5-year contract versus $233 million.
It's a lot of money.
So there's money that is missing. Go back to it. Jason Tatum, he made an all NBA team. He gets super max eligible. He get 5 years, $318 million.
Okay.
Jaylen Brown, all NBA team, super max eligible, 5-year, $295 million. So it makes a huge difference when you're looking at how am I balancing this out and what's my money going to look like if I make an all-NBA team, going back to the contract conversation.
And going back to, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who was probably the surprise on this list, he averaged 31.4 points in 68 games this season. The only player since the start of the 99 season to average at least 31 points per game and play at least 68 games and not be all-NBA first team was Allen Iverson, who averaged 33 in 72 games in 05-06. He was third team that year.
Wow.
So, based on the statistical accomplishments of SGA, like I said, you would have had to make history essentially to put him on the second or the third team,
Right.
Because of what he was doing was just so outstanding that I just gave the numbers in the last 25 years or so. There's only been one player that averaged the amount of points he did and didn't make first team All NBA. And that was Allen Iverson. And I think for SGA, and Patrick said it too, in the analytical era we live in, people are looking too much at analytics and stuff and stats like that to basically demote him to the second team.
No doubt.
Yeah, and I think if you look into what GMs would want too, I think GMs would like him to be get further up on that list to make sure that Oklahoma City has to pay him a supermax and that Oklahoma City. So you're like, no, put him up there. Don't let Oklahoma City run away with being able to keep these guys that are really good cheaper because we just weren't paying attention to them. And then they put together this super team because of all the draft
14
picks they
first
have.
round draft picks.
And they're gonna get this super team put together, and then they're not even paying SGA a full because we didn't vote him high enough.
No, I like that. That's a good point. I like the conspiracy theory. I'm on the grassy knoll with you there.
You stay on that knoll, don't you, Doc?
All right, we come back. We'll wrap it up. Put it in the oven. Let you know what's on tap right here on Ball Don't Lie. Wonderful, not